National Broadcast. Today from Rich Stadium, it's the New York Jets versus the Buffalo Bills. Brought to you by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Mazda Cars and Trucks, including the all-new Mazda MPV. And by new Right Guard Sports Stick from Gillette. Anything less would be uncivilized.
The New York Jets, badly in need of offense, are changing quarterbacks today. Pat Ryan gets the call, replacing Ken O'Brien. But Ryan's assignment is an awesome one because he'll be attacked by two of the great defenders in pro football, like number 55 linebacker Cornelius Bennett of the Buffalo Bills. In just his second year, he is a truly great player. And so is the man on the other side, number 78, Bruce Smith of the Buffalo Bills. An all-pro pass rusher, Smith, at almost 300 pounds, runs down ball carriers all over the field. The Bills are flying high right now. A victory today in just the 12th week of the season sends them into the playoffs as AFC Eastern Division champion. You see their 10-1 record. If they beat the Jets today, that'll be it in the division. Buffalo will have won it with 4 games still to be played. Good afternoon, everyone. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy at Sold Out Rich Stadium. 80,000 are here. There's a football celebration going on in Buffalo, and with reason. These fans think they have the next Super Bowl champion, and they might be right. The Jets have to somehow try to offset. A defense has been overwhelming people, Trump. What does Pat Ryan have to do?
Well, I think the one thing that Pat Ryan can do for the New York Jets is move around. Now, Ken O'Brien is a very high percentage completion passer, but he is a target. He does not roll well. He does not run well. Pat Ryan has not started a real game since 1986, but he's a mobile quarterback. He's also a very, very well-liked quarterback on the New York Jets, and I think the Jets are just trying to get a little more activity in their offense.
Coming after Pat Ryan today, among others, will be that number 78, Bruce Smith, who was unblockable the last time the Jets and the Bills played in October at Giant Stadium. He just devastated the pass blocking of the Jets.
Yeah, Don, when you look at Bruce Smith and his teammates on defense here in Buffalo, you got to bring out a big bag of superlatives. These guys are mean, they are tough, they are brutes. If you get behind, or if you get third down and long yardage situations a lot all day long, those guys will eat you alive. That's a tremendous challenge today for the Jets. Stay out of those long yardage situations and try to get on top early.
The tune is Shout. They're letting it rip already. Coach Joe Walton's had good success sending his Jets against the Bills. You see his record here at Rich Stadium. He's 8-3 overall with Jet teams against Buffalo. Now, this could be a different story today as Marv Levy has a football powerhouse generating here in Buffalo. A team that routed the Jets at Giant Stadium in October, 37-14.
Don, if there's an advantage for the New York Jets today, and it certainly must also be a help to the Buffalo Bills, is there's no wind in this stadium. This is one of those rare occasions in Buffalo late in the season where wind will not be a factor, at least at the start of the game. And wind is the one element that no coach wants to really play in because it'll favor you 2 quarters, it'll be your enemy 2 quarters. So the wind should not be a factor.
Playing conditions are very good. Temperature about 45 degrees. Trump mentioned wind not a factor. The field is dry. There is the threat of rain as there is throughout the East. The Jets have won the toss, and they'll be receiving to start the game. Townsend and Humphrey are back deep. And ready to kick it off for the Bills is Scott Norwood. Buffalo leading the National Football League in wins and in attendance. 7 games, their 7th sellout. 80,000, and this kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Jets getting set to start the return. Walton thinks it is critically important not to fall behind Buffalo. The Bills scored on their first 5 possessions against the Jets in October, and here comes the return. This is Bobby Humphrey across the 20, hit at the 24 and driven back, and that is where the Jets will go on offense. German Cockcroft was down to make the play on special teams. Trump?
Don, I don't think Marv Levy could have orchestrated it better. In the game to win the division championship, his defense takes the field first. That's perfect.
As you look at the people that will be trying to block them, Criswell he's just a rookie. He was eaten alive by Bruce Smith. Not many people that haven't been one-on-one. They They do have Banker back at left guard, Ted Banker. He has been out for 4 games with an injured foot. Pat Ryan directing the offense. Temperature could be down in the 30s by the end of this one. The field is dry with the threat of rain. And Freeman McNeil, who's had some very good games against the Bills, gets the first carry. And running up the right side into linebacker Ray Bentley, McNeil has about 5 yards. The defense, Art Still, 4-time Pro Bowl player. Fred Smerlas, a 4-time Pro Bowl player. Bruce Smith, perhaps the best defensive lineman in the NFL. Here, Reggie White. Cornelius Bennett, he'll be all-pro at age 22 in his second year. Shane Collins been terrific. He was Defensive Rookie of the Year last season out of Penn State. Bentley's been outstanding, and Darrell Kelly grades out as high as anybody on the defense. Secondary's been better than maybe their abilities because they've really had a lot of balls thrown their way under duress. Here is Ryan on the run, very much under duress. Incomplete pass on 2nd down and 5. That brings up 3rd down. Bruce Smith was a coming.
Now, the first thing to note here is the New York Jets are putting their offense to the left-hand side. See 82 Mickey Schuler? That helps Criswell. As long as you have a tight end or someone out there next to the tackle and Bruce Smith has to worry about the crackdown block. And all they're trying to do is slow down Bruce Smith just a little bit. Just make him hesitate at the line of scrimmage. Because when this young man has total pass rush, his first step off the line is about 3.5 yards long, and he's on the quarterback before anybody realizes it.
Everybody that plays against him says you can't believe how fast he is until you play him. Here he comes again. There's a throw downfield. Tune has it for a Jet first down. A beautiful delivery by Pat Ryan as Smith was almost on him, and he fired that fastball that Tune went up for a 13-yard gain on 3rd down, and the Jets keep the drive going.
Bills came with the extra defensive back. Kirby Jackson was the man in coverage. The Buffalo Bills like man-to-man coverage all over the place. And, of course, man-to-man coverage works when you get great pressure from up front. That time, Bruce Smith runs around Ryan. Tune makes an outstanding catch. First down, Jets.
So the Jets, who had little luck converting on 3rd downs the last time they played the Bills, connect there. And it's 1st and 10 at the 43. Opening drive, there's no score. McNeil cutting back, gets to the 45-yard line. A first down carry is good for 3. Fred Smerlas, a 290-pound nose tackle out of Boston College, makes the stop. He's one of the leaders of the Buffalo team. Fred Smerlas, easy rider, a motorcycle rider.
He's certainly seen the worst of times playing for the Buffalo Bills up here. A win today will equal the last 2 seasons' wins by the Buffalo Bills. Can you imagine that?
Out of those ashes of 2 and 14 years have come some of the best players in the league right now, and all of a sudden it's come together. Jet left guard, Banker left early. The Jets, instead of 2nd down and 8, will now have to go 2nd down and 13.
Now that's what that threat of pass rush does to you. Banker was up in a 2-point stance, and any movement whatsoever, and Banker, he was down in his 3-point stance. The secret to pass protection is to get up in that pass protecting position as quickly as you possibly can. Banker that time broke out of his stance, and now you've got 2nd down and long. Watch out, pass rush.
Joe Walton said we just have to build on the last 5 games. It's a 5-game season for us now, as the Jets come in 5-1. 2nd and 13 for Pat Ryan and the Jets. Roger Vick a line behind him. They go to McNeil. He breaks one tackle and another, and Freeman McNeil bounces and gets to the outside and out to the 48-yard line. They gained almost 10 yards on the play. 3rd down and perhaps 4 is coming up as Mark Kelso, who could be a Pro Bowl player this season. The free safety out of William & Mary made the tackle.
Nice draw trap here run by the New York Jets. They get by that pass rush, and then, of course, with man-to-man coverage down the field, it's pretty easy for Freeman McNeil to break a tackle here and there. We do have a Buffalo Bill down on the field.
So while the injured Bill is attended to, there's a break in the action here at Orchard Park, New York.
What's up, big job? We got 5 seats. Done this. All right, this is nonsense. Yeah, I can't deal with that now. I know. It's this. Showtime, baby. Get him.
Boy,
for the hustle. The clean, crisp taste of Beechwood aged Budweiser.
Hey, man, good job. You the best.
Mazda's got a brand new vehicle that's as unique and special and friendly as the family dog. It's the all-new Mazda MPV. It carries 7 like a wagon, it's versatile like a van, and with its responsive V6, it performs like a Mazda. If Mazda's MPV sounds like something that's never been before, you're right. About the only thing it won't do is get your paper in the morning. The all-new Mazda MPV. Family transportation, the Mazda way.
Now, the final chapter, students, in Bosworth's book of etiquette. Personal hygiene. How will you separate yourselves from those barbaric hordes that exude a most malodorous air? New Ride Guard Sports Stick from Gillette. Maximum protection and a fresh new scent. A veritable olfactory medley. New Ride Guard Sports Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized. Raise your glasses, gentlemen, to civilization.
Derek Burrows still down on the floor of the stadium. He took a knee to the head. Burrows being attended to. And as Freeman McNeil cuts to the outside, you'll see Burrows come from the right. Here's the contact right here, but keep watching Burrows. Keep watching Burrows. He looks up, and he watches McNeil go on down the field, and then puts his head down. Now, Burrows is rolled over on his back. Sometimes when your head takes the contact, hangs your neck around, you get what's called a stinger. It looks like he's holding his jaw. Maybe he got just a shot in the jaw. Good right cross.
Only score up so far as we look at the scoreboard. The Browns up on the Steelers 3-0 in the first quarter at Cleveland Stadium. Bears playing at Tampa Bay is interesting, Trump. Mike Ditka back on the sideline following his recent mild heart attack, and Ray Perkins, the coach at Tampa Bay, said that 3 years ago when he coached at Alabama, he had a mild heart attack and was back on. He didn't want anybody to know about it. Was back coaching in 3 days.
You know, Don, this is on the fringe of being involved in football, but there are certainly a lot of doctors around the country that I've read that are not too pleased to see Mike Ditka back on the sideline coaching. A lot of doctors have said that's really a bad indication of the way some people in this country take coronary heart disease.
Now Derek Burrows helped off. He's a former #1 draft choice, the left corner out of Memphis State for Buffalo. Wayne Davis will step in, a free agent. Derek Burrows still obviously groggy. Biggest play in this game so far. 3rd and 5 play for the Jets. Pat Ryan under a great rush delivered a strike 13 yards downfield to Al Toon.
Burrows is hanging onto his jaw, and that's what took the brunt of Freeman McNeil's knee. Now here's a good down for the Jets. 3rd down and short. Yeah, see, they're working on his jaw.
Extra DBs in on 3rd down and a long 4. Just over 4 yards for the Jets. No score. 12:09 to play. First quarter.
Moves Smith over the center.
They started doing that for the first time Monday night at Miami. Handoff to the outside. Freeman McNeil, and he gets ahead. Free ball out of bounds. And it looks like Freeman McNeil, well, he's going to be close to a first down. We'll see where they make the spot. Could have it. He does. Jets get their second first down in the drive. Mark Kelso knocked him down. McNeil's had some terrific days against the Bills.
Don, the Jets did a great job of being at the line of scrimmage early. They were able to identify who was where, and they simply ran away from all of the attention, but there's a flag down, and that first down is not going to count.
Dick Hantak, the referee. We don't know what the penalty was.
We did not see the flag at all, but it ends up being 3rd down and 13.
He just announced it. Holding on
someone, huh?
Holding call against the Jets. 3rd down and 15 now as Ryan looks for the out man. He brings it over, and with the ball is Hector running in the open field. He's knocked down at the 45-yard line. Another marker down front in the Buffalo backfield. Smurlus and Leonard Smith combined on the stop.
Screens are good against great pass rush. It's a against Buffalo, and it was all the way on this side of the field. The screen far side, the penalty this side.
Illegal contact. Defense, number 58. 5-yard, first down.
Shane Conlon. The man that Joe Paterno called the best linebacker ever to play for Penn State. This is his 23 years.
That's saying something. All the great linebackers out of there.
Marv Levy likens Conlon to the guy who wore the same number for the Steelers so many years, Jack Lambert.
Except Conlon's a lot bigger.
He is big. Derek Burrows, obviously an injury to his face or jaw, being taken off the field now. His first down and 10 comes up on a defensive penalty against the Buffalo Bills. Here's Freeman McNeil on first down, out to the 49-yard line. They're really going to McNeil. He's getting a lot of carries early as Ray Bentley and Leonard Smith combine on the stop for the Bills.
Don, they're also running almost exclusively right, are the New York Jets. They're not going at Bruce Smith.
3 carries, Trump, for Freeman McNeil. He's gained 19 yards. Second down and 5 with the ball in his position, just short of midfield.
Jets are doing a good job here on the chains. They're not facing a lot of long yardage situations. They've had 2, compared to 1 by penalty. The other one with the catch by Al Toon.
Roger Vick, hit by Smerlis and by Bentley. And the knockdown is made at about the 49-yard line of Buffalo. Conlon also shot the gap to make the head-on hit. First tackler, Shane Conlon. And so now third down arises again for the Jets.
One thing you notice about these Bill linebackers is how deep from the line of scrimmage they are. Conlon right there, reads it all the way. He's untouched. He really puts the hammer on Roger Vick. Very seldom do running backs break tackles of Bentley, Cornelius Bennett, Talley, or Shane Conlon. Terrific tackles.
So Ryan on third down and 3. Brings McNeil in motion with extra tight ends and a spread out. All roll-out pass play, long ball downfield, and incomplete ball, and the Jets will have to punt it. Conlon coming hard. Puts the rush on Pat Ryan just before he delivered that errant pass.
Now, Don, that's what the Jets can do with Pat Ryan. Roll him out. He's a lot more mobile than is Ken O'Brien. But Conlon, that looks like blitz all the way to me with great foot speed. The intended receiver was Wesley Walker, but Ryan could not set up to make the pass, and the Jets said must punt.
Brian Bosworth of the Seattle Seahawks got all the press among the first-year linebackers. Shane Conlon made all the plays. They weren't even on the same planet as far as what they delivered as rookies. Fourth down, and Prokop standing back at his 36-yard line. A high punt downfield. Flip Johnson. He'll let it hop, and it steps into the end zone, and it'll come out as a touchback to the 20-yard line. 49-yard punt. 20 comes off on net yardage out to the 20. And the Bills go on offense for the first time in this scoreless game. 9:21 to go in the first quarter. Jim Kelly bringing out the Buffalo offense.
Nobody likes compromises. Everybody wants a car that does everything. The new Mazda 626 handles all those practical things you expect from any family sedan. But it also knows how to handle roads like these. So if there was ever a car that let you have your cake and eat it too, sure hope you're hungry. Mazda 626, a sophisticated family sedan the Mazda way.
Winter's beautiful. She's just not real friendly sometimes. The days get shorter, the cold makes things kind of brittle, and the boys, well, they just get uglier. But come nightfall, when the fire gets hot, you still get thirsty. Winter's not so bad.
Head for the mountains of Busch Beer.
Now there's a football game with all the sound, all the action, the challenge of the real game. Introducing play-by-play talking football, the best game next to the real game.
I'd rather switch than itch, so I switched to Tegrin. Tegrin medicated shampoo controls all the major causes of itching and flaking, so Tegrin is more than strong enough for tough dandruff like yours.
Wouldn't you rather switch than itch?
This is Don Cookie with Bob Trumpy back at Orchard Park, New York on an overcast day in western New York State. The Bills go on offense for the first time today after the Jets had a sustained offense. Had the ball for almost 5:40. But they finally are forced to punt. Now Jim Kelly brings out the offense. As you see, a big offensive line that's run the ball very well. First 5 games of the season, the Bills averaged under 90 yards a game rushing. Last 6 games, they've doubled that almost. Levy said we want to develop a run mentality. He's a firm believer, Trump, that if you run the ball 30 times a game, you're going to win, and that's what the Bills have been doing lately.
A lot of credit is given to Tim Vogler, too. He was on the injury reserve list with a bad knee, comes back, and all of a sudden Thurman Thomas goes crazy. This is a very interesting offense in that they have a set of backs for almost every series of plays that they run.
One area the Jets have been better than the Bills at is the giveaway takeaway. The Jets are plus 12 on fumbles and interceptions. Bills are only plus 4, and that might be the key as Thurman Thomas breaks into open field. The rookie runner from Oklahoma State. He didn't play Monday night at Miami because of a slight thigh injury. Now comes back and rips off a huge gain, a 29-yarder. Finally, Leal and Hasty knock him down for the Jets.
Don, it did not appear that Thomas was going to break through the line of scrimmage. The Jets did a pretty good job. Watch what happens. It's right at the left guard. Vogler does a great job pushing Lyons out. See, it looked like he was going to be stopped there, and all of a sudden he breaks. This kid breaks an awful lot of tackles.
And despite missing almost 2 complete games, he's well over 600 yards rushing now, and he's got more on this play as they go right back at the right side of that Jet defense. Thurman Thomas, a 5'10", 200-pound runner, was projected as a high #1 draft choice, but he had a knee injury. He's playing with no anterior cruciate ligament in his right knee. But seems to do all right with it. He played his senior year without it after being hurt as a junior in one game against the Oklahoma Sooners, had almost 180 yards running. Bills picked him in the 2nd round as we look at the Jet defenders. Alex Gordon back. He didn't play in that first game against the Bills, nor did tight end Mickey Schuler. Jim Kelly with his first pass swings it out. He's got his man, Andre Reed, with his 54th reception of the season. In his wisdom, James Hasty, the right cornerback of the Jets, a rookie, said Buffalo has the worst receivers we've ever played against. None of them are any good. Hasty was covering on the play. Not very well. Chicago moving out in front of Tampa Bay 7-0.
Down the way that Buffalo runs this offense, it's all set up with that running game, and then the play action passing, holding the line of scrimmage, holding the linebackers at the line of scrimmage.
There's no score. 7:14 to play first quarter. Buffalo's opening drive getting big yardage virtually every down now is Ronnie Harmon, a runner from Iowa. He was a #1 draft choice. Takes it inside the 30. The Bills loaded with blue chippers. 15 of their 22 starters in offense and defense were drafted in the 1st or 2nd round.
They got 25 players on their roster from the first 3 rounds. And of course, with the way the Bills have lost over the last several years, a lot of those picks, very high picks in each round. So this is a talented football team.
Marv Levy sums it up very simply. And that's why his team is so good right now. He said, we have good players and they play hard every down.
There's a guy who, too, also deserves a big tip of the cap, and that's Jim Ringo taking care of this offensive line. There he is right there. He was the offensive line for the Electric Company when O.J. Simpson went over 2,000 yards. He was the offensive line of the New York Jets for a couple of years when it was a very, very good offensive line. Chris Ward, Marvin Powell, Randy Rasmussen, Joe Fields.
Jim Ringo on the left, of course, he anchored the offensive line at center of those great Lombardi teams at Green Bay. Now the Bills have 2nd down coming out. 2nd down and about 5 with the ball is positioned at the 28-yard line of the Jets. 2 wide outs, go wide right. Pitch back. Thurman Thomas dips in, dips out, and the Jets shut down the run. Jet defense, while the team has lost its last 2 games, the Jet defense has played well. Benson particularly well, 54 inside linebacker. Marty Lyons is having maybe his best season in the NFL, and this is 10th year.
Here's a big key now. Last week, the Buffalo Bills, that's Bud Carson, the defensive coordinator of the Jets. He's well aware of this stat. The Bills converted 82% of their third downs to first downs against Miami. 14 of 17. They face third down and 5 here.
Ted Marchibroda, the offensive coordinator of Buffalo, said we really moved the ball all season, but we couldn't get it in the end zone early. Lately, we've been taking it down and putting it in. Kelly, strong of arm, delivers a strike inside the 25-yard line. Andre Reed gets another one, and he has a first down for the Bills. Let's see where they spot the ball now. They're spotting it back a bit. Might call for a measurement.
Watch the Jets secondary. They're playing zone. You see the linebacker there is waiting, or the safety, I should say, is waiting for Andre Reed to come in. Reed does a great job. It's Rich Spiano, 36, is just standing there waiting for him. And it's not enough for a first down, so...
First major decision well within Scott Norwood's field goal range. This is third down coming up. That should be fourth, isn't it?
They're going to measure. If they don't make it, it's fourth down, yeah.
So the sticks come out. Miano, as you pointed out, with the tackle that drove him back, but the spot is on position of the play. Buffalo does get the first down. Jim Kelly's in his third year with the Bills out of Miami of Florida. 28 years old. He comes in with 61% completions, 2,400 yards throwing the ball, an 81 rating. Marchibroda, who coaches him, says his greatest strength is his leadership. He doesn't care about personal stats. He'll take sacks. He'll do what it takes to win. He uses the clock as well as any quarterback he's ever had, including Burt Jones. So far, Kelly 2 for 2. His greatest strength, though, says Marchibroda, is the one every great quarterback has to have. It's accuracy. Here is Andre Reed. Picked up as he comes inside the 20-yard line of the Jets and knocked out of bounds at about the 18.
It looked like he slipped. Right at the line of scrimmage, it appeared the Jets were going to stop him for little or no gain. And then the Bills stayed with the play. 39 Mueller goes in motion. The pitch to Thomas. Jim Kelly is out here leading the blocking. There's number 12. He gets a shot on Alex Gordon. It's a pretty good block. And then his feet just slip right out from underneath him, or he might be in the end zone.
Kyle Clifton was shaken up in that play, but he's staying in the game. An inside linebacker for the Jets. Game clock ticking. It's down to 4:50 and running in the first quarter. No score. This is Buffalo's first possession. They stopped the Jets, who had a 10-play drive and had the ball for 5:40 on the clock. Where the ball is spotted, it's going to be second down and 5. Thurman Thomas, the rookie runner, blockers in front, and Thurman Thomas makes that diving move down to the 10, but there's a marker down on the play.
Bills use their fullback.
Holding it in.
Yeah, it's against the Buffalo Bills, but Jamie Mueller is almost a personal escort for Thurman Thomas. I believe he's not particularly happy with what's going on here. There's a list of the officials there on his game plan, and he'll yell at them by first name as opposed to number.
Holding. Offense. Number 39. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. Second down.
Well, I thought he made a great block. Watch Mueller lead this play. 39. I thought he went right down to the guy's legs. Oh, he just had his hand around. Well, that's a good call. He had his hand around his neck. There's no question that that's a holding call.
So the Bills are set back now. They had the ball positioned at the 26-yard line of the Jets. No score. Jim Kelly said he cried the day that he had to go to Buffalo. He really didn't want to play here. Now he never wants to leave. He's building a $2 million house.
That's tough to do in Buffalo, isn't it?
About 6 tons of granite in it, a disco, all the good Quick throw over the middle as Andre Reed's catching balls all over the field. Bills using a lot of crossing patterns against the Jets. Trying to lose those young corners. Jets with youth in their secondary, but a lot of good athletes back there.
That one was well covered by the New York Jets. Well covered. Andre Reed had nowhere to run whatsoever. They didn't gain many yards at all. Now, you were speaking of Kelly about his greatest attributes. If they needed a linebacker in a pinch, I think Jim Kelly would volunteer.
That was his position. That's what he was recruited at Penn State for. They wanted to play linebacker. He wanted to play quarterback. Went to Miami.
One of the toughest guys I think you'll ever meet individually.
He's been on with each throw, as you see, 3 of 3. Now they go to the draw play, and the Bills break the run straight up the middle. Very nearly a free ball. But holding on to it was Rob Riddick, the touchdown maker. He's been in the end zone 10 times this season. His first carry of this day is good for 12 yards.
Excellent play call. Scott Mercereau, the nose tackle, and Rich Miano, the safety, make the tackle, but a great call by Ted Marchibroda. He's the one sitting up here in the booth. He gets the plays down to the field. Watch what happens. He runs right by Gordon. The left tackle pulls out to try to block somebody, but number 73, Will Wolford, there's nobody there.
Walton said, Trump, the thing you can't do against Buffalo is get behind, and the Bills threatening to go ahead here. Buffalo with a 6-game win streak. As they go to Thurman Thomas, nicely done on defense by Rich Miano of the Jets, and another marker is down at the 10-yard line.
That's thrown by the umpire. You can bet that's holding. It is against Buffalo. What is that, 3 holding calls now against Buffalo? They had 2 on offense and 1 on defense, I believe.
Holding. Offense. Number 66. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
Interesting call because as of kickoff, Buffalo had no 66. They don't have one on the field now.
They don't have one on the sideline either. So either 65 Tim Vogler or 67 Kent Hull.
Now the Bills go with first down and 20 at the 23-yard line of the Jets. Trumaine Johnson, 86 in motion. Kelly gets time. Now he runs out of it, and Jim Kelly hits for the 12th man. But he's caught and knocked down by Hasty, and this game's going to really heat up now. Go for Kelly, and they will go for you.
Hasty's a young rookie who likes to challenge people.
We'll get a response very shortly.
Jim Kelly, when he rolled out, he puts the ball in his left hand and tries to go a stiff arm on Hasty. Good coverage by the Jets.
Hasty's doing his job.
Now watch what he does. He switches the ball on the other hand, and he's going to stiff arm with his passing hand and arm Hasty. Now I admire the character there in Jim Kelly, but it's not a very smart choice. If he fractures a finger, all of a sudden Buffalo's in big trouble. Sometimes quarterbacks, even tough guys, got to remember who they are and what they're doing.
The Bills are still unhappy about the hit Kelly took on Monday night at Miami, and that rookie DB from the Dolphins.
Jarvis Williams hit him. But look, when a quarterback leaves the pocket, he's a running back.
And he's live, there's no question. Hasty out there to watch him. Still no score. It'll be 2nd and 23 when we come back.
Choose to make a difference.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can.
Every time you reach for MasterCard from now through December, we'll donate money to 6 worthy causes, and you can help choose where the money goes.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand.
Choose to make a difference. Choose MasterCard.
It's easy to see why Mazda truck owners are starting to toot their own horn. They've got enough reasons. Mazda trucks are so reliable. They've been rated #1 in customer satisfaction for 3 straight years. Mazda has the best warranty in the truck business. Nobody else can say that. And when you figure this sporty SE5 is priced close to the other guy's base trucks, what's left to say? I guess that says it. Mazda SE5, a sporty truck the Mazda way.
When he's working, when his work is done, a man wants a jean he can feel comfortable in. American Hero Jeans from Wrangler.
With the designed-in sound of a Delco Electronics music system, now the best seat in the house is in your GM car or truck. Delco Electronics is who we are.
Light rain now falling here in western New York as the Bills have the ball positioned at the 27-yard line of the Jets. No score in this game. 2:22 to play in the first quarter. Second down and 23 coming up. 11th play of the drive, but the last 3 plays, Trump, they've been falling back.
Lots of penalties called on Buffalo to begin this football game. Not a heavily penalized team, but it certainly kills a lot of drives.
Buffalo's best deep threat. Andre Reed at the top of your screen, 83. Trumaine Johnson near side. That's Kelly with a deep drop, stands in and dumps it off, and Ronnie Harmon can't hold on. That brings up third down and 23. Jets with a very aggressive defense and very good speed. They've improved their speed measurably in the defense this year.
Jets had that one well diagnosed, too. They had people out there. Gerald Nichols was putting pressure on Jim Kelly, but Mike Zordich, number 38, was right out there with Ronnie Harmon in case they do make that completion. This Jet team has really played hard. They got a lot of young guys in there. They've been heavily injured this season. Bud Carson, the defensive coordinator, knows he needs a defensive end. They basically have a roster of defensive tackles for a little better pass rush, but this team's not a long way from being a good one.
The Bills haven't beaten the Jets here at Rich Stadium since 1981, and the Jets play here every year. Here's a long ball into the end zone, and it's intercepted. Beautifully done by Hasty. And so the rookie corner who took the headshot at Kelly now picks him off.
That's a touchback. Jets will get the ball at the point of the interception. Take it back.
Momentum took him into the end zone.
It's not a touchback, but he'll get the ball at the point of the interception. This is a busted play. The receiver, Flip Johnson, breaks his pattern. He's at the bottom of the screen. Total zone by the Jets. Good underneath coverage. Now watch what happens when Kelly rolls. Now you see Flip Johnson go up the field. And Hasty does a great job with the interception.
Does he, yeah?
You talk about the plus-minus for the New York Jets. For Hasty, that's his 3rd interception of the season. And they take it back to the spot where he intercepted it.
Third-round draft choice out of Washington State. James Hasty makes a big play to start the Buffalo drive, and we still have a scoreless game. 2 minutes and 6 seconds to play now in the first quarter.
I think Jim Kelly tried to do a little too much on that particular play. Jets use an awful lot of zone. Hasty a great job of coverage there in making that interception.
Bills defense will be busting hard now, trying to get him in the end zone. Here's Ryan with a daring play, 8 yards deep. He lets it go to Tune, and he makes the play at the 23-yard line. So the Jets gamble and work it beautifully. Another pass completion. Ryan to Al Tune. This one good for 21 yards.
And you notice Pat Ryan also wearing gloves today. Of course, Jim McMahon did that a couple of 3 years ago. Now it's rather common on inclement days. Ryan, a good play-action fake here. Holds the line of scrimmage. Holds the linebackers right there. Good pass protection. Criswell does a great job on Bruce Smith. Tune runs the out. Kelso was there too late. That's a big pickup by the New York Jets.
Real big, and it's downfield. That's been the problem for Joe Walton's Jets. Al Tune, their all-pro receiver, leads the conference with now 59 catches. But he's averaging under 10 yards a catch, and he's a downfield getter. He's had one for 30. That's his second reception. His 13-yarder, now 21-yarder. All for first down. Getting the Jets out of a hole. Johnny Hector gets the carry, and he's close to the 26-yard line. Smerlis, the nose tackle, made the stop for the Bills. Smerlis says one of the big things, Trump, that Marv Levy does as head coach, he keeps everybody fresh for game day. He doesn't, when the Bills were losing, some of the coaches would work them harder and harder. He said, we get to a game on Sunday, we didn't have our legs, we were worked out.
Well, an old guy like Fred Smerlis would certainly appreciate that. Smerlis has been around a few years.
10th year.
Audible.
Jets doing a good job keeping Cornelius Bennett off their QB. There's a throw downfield. Oh, a drop ball. Wesley Walker, who's not caught a pass, and this is going on to his 4th game. He hasn't had any receptions in the last 3 games. And that was one of the reasons that they went to Pat Ryan today. They need the deep threat of Wesley Walker.
Yeah, those two combined for 3 touchdown passes in a game they played here. Ryan started way back in 1984. So Ryan certainly likes Wesley Walker and comes into the game with an 18.9-yard average, certainly the best on the New York Jets. Ryan is now 2 of 5 for 35 yards. And has done a good job of spreading the ball around, and the offensive line has done a great job of protecting him.
They have. Ryan has stood in, and the pass protection is picked up now in this second possession of the Jets. Scoreless game.
Let's see where Smith is. Ryan took a timeout. 30-second clock was about to expire.
So with a minute and 5 seconds to play in the first quarter, timeout.
We're not a company.
But we'll give you a chance to work where there's always a challenge.
We'll give you opportunities to learn, to develop.
To perfect skills that you thought were beyond your reach.
We'll help you build a career that can reward you for the rest of your life.
We're not a company.
We're your country.
We're the Army.
The Navy.
The Air Force.
The Marines.
We're the Armed Forces.
It's a great place to start.
In the village of Upper Nyack, the firemen fight fires with ladders and hoses. And a Murata fax machine. It's used to receive floor plans and detailed drawings of buildings so they can plan how to attack the fire before they get to the fire. Murata fax machines.
When unexpected events leave you battered, bruised, and bewildered, it's soothing to know that MetLife works hard to pay your claim promptly. Get Met, it pays.
Attention all men with noses. Introducing Schick Slim Twin Disposable. It's 28% slimmer than Good News to give you a close shave even in hard-to-reach places. New Schick Slim Twin, preferred by men who have noses.
Against Denver in 1975. Trump, you were looking for something to develop a real trend early in this game. So far, the Jets have held off the Bills. They could be at the distance.
You're right. The best thing that the Jets have done to this point is that Freeman McNeil is averaging better than 6 yards a carry, and the Jets have been able to protect their quarterback. Now, Tudor's run a couple of deep patterns, and they've been able to get him the ball. So far, Jets are doing exactly what they want. Now, they're losing the field position battle so far. They've been on their side of the 50. But they're starting.
There's Bruce Smith over the nose again. He's right on center. Jim Sweeney as Ryan gets some time.
Walker.
Downfield throw, and this time Wesley Walker makes sure he has it. A big gainer for the Jets, and now they start up on the far sideline. Leonard Smith, who came in a trade with the Phoenix Cardinals, mixing it up, but that was a 22-yard pickup as the Jet pass blocking has been inspired. As Kotite, the Jet offensive coordinator, likes to say, there is no pass offense without pass blocking, particularly against a team like the Bills. The Jets have had some good strikes throwing the ball because they've given Ryan time to deliver.
Now, once again, that's a very deep pattern run by a Jet receiver. Good time for Pat Ryan to throw it. Here's Hantak with the call.
Personal foul. Defense, number 46 has been ejected.
Leonard Smith and Derek Burrows now out of the ball game.
Yeah, that's a Marv Levy axiom. Don't be dumb, don't be dirty. Hasty may have been construed as going to the head of Kelly in front of the Buffalo bench.
Well, that's 2 starting defensive backs now that Buffalo is missing. Burrows by injury, and now Leonard Smith by the penalty. Nick Hantak was motioned to the sideline by Marv Levy. He wasn't interested in going. That's Darryl Talley. No, that's Leonard Smith being escorted to the sideline.
Bill's 4th penalty now for 40 yards, but this one the most expensive of all as they lose their starting strong safety on an ejection. Leonard Smith out, and Levy's apoplectic and with reason.
That That's a 37-yard pickup. That's a 27-yard catch and a 15-yard penalty. Now watch once again. Leonard Smith. And they throw him out for that. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I think Dick Hantak's mistake is going to the sideline. Unfortunately, to my knowledge, replay can have no part in this. The penalty is called. It's a decision by the official on the field. Marv Levy can complain all he wants. Leonard Smith is out of the game.
This is one of those plays replay does not get involved, and that's right, son.
That's what I just said. This is totally in the hands of Dick Hantak and his crew. If they determine that that is palpably unfair, he is thrown out. He is ejected.
What did he do, though?
I don't know that he did anything. I mean, that didn't appear as vicious a pull down as we've seen in a lot of other instances.
Leonard Smith is a very good player. He was a #1 draft choice of the Cardinals. The Cardinals had no cornerback to cover, so the Bills made a deal to get a top strong safety for a backup corner.
Now, Leonard Smith has got his hand on him, and it appears that he pulls Wesley Walker down, and that's what starts everything. It does appear,
but an ejection?
It does appear that he pulls him down. But the important point is that's a 37-yard game.
Now is going to get himself.
And they also have lost their second starting defensive back of the day in a game where they can win the AFC Eastern Division title.
Ryan Prius looks Trump for some pretty good yardage.
Yeah, but Bills are helping him a great deal.
The lights are on. No score, but the Jets driving. Cornelius Bennett. No flag. It looks like yeah, there is a flag, so it's a free play for Ryan. He gets out of bounds. Cornelius Bennett jumped early, so Ryan had a free play and got a couple of yards. But they'll take the penalty. It'll be first down and 5.
Now the Bills, the one thing that they can't do is lose their cool. I think if I were Marv Levy or the defensive coordinator, Walt Corey, I think I'd take a timeout and say, gentlemen, let's settle down here. Remember what's at stake.
Here, this will cool some things off. The rain started to fall.
That's the 5th penalty now on the Buffalo Bills.
The Bills have not been to the playoffs since they were AFC Eastern champions in 1980, and that year they didn't go far. They've not had a playoff game at home since 1967.
Offside. Defense, number 55, 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
Now somebody out there, Don, in my estimation, one of the veterans, Smurless or somebody's got to get over the anger, settle the Buffalo defense down, and get them back concentrating on what they have to do here. 5 penalties to this point.
Left hand is a stabilizing force. He's meant a lot to this team since he's come in from Kansas City. 4-time All-Pro player, left end 72. Nice down and yardage call for the Jets and Pat Ryan. First down and 5 in a scoreless game. Art Still.
There's another flag.
Another penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage.
He was first flushed by Bruce Smith. But there's a flag right at the line of scrimmage. Jets are motioning. It's against the Bills. That's now 6 penalties with 45 seconds to go in the first quarter and an ejection.
And also a starting defender at left corner.
Offside. Defense, number 78, 5-yard penalty. It will be a first down.
Bruce Smith could be going out now, Trump. He's certainly waving out help for him. He's down on one knee.
Art still makes the sack, but you can see Bruce Smith comes up limping right there. 6 penalties in the first quarter and an ejection.
So Buffalo's best player, defensive end Bruce Smith, going off with a very tender ankle. Leon Seals will go in to replace him. So on a day that Buffalo is expecting to celebrate an AFC Eastern championship, they've had one disappointment and one misfire after another. A series of penalties, 5 of them, now a 6th. And 3 starting players out of the game on defense. Bruce Smith is out. We don't know for how long. Derek Burrows is out. He's been taken to the locker room. And the starting strong safety, Leonard Smith, has gone for the day. An ejection. And certainly it was a very questionable call. But it's history. It's in the books. He's out. Here goes the run now. Johnny Hector breaks into the Bills defense and takes it inside the 15-yard line. Leon Seals made the knockdown as the Jets trap blocking well up front with Sweeney at center, Banker in at left guard, and Haight at right guard.
There's Leonard Smith. He's going into the locker room. His day is finished. Been ejected. He'll join Derek Burrows in there. That was a 13-yard pickup. And the Bills have gotten a little too ridiculous in this first quarter. 6 penalties, an ejection, and 3 starters out.
Gun sounds, and that's it for the first 15 minutes of play as Bruce Smith tries to walk it off, and the Jets will be looking to take it in when we come back.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
The Tandy 1000HX computer is a great family gift. It was sale priced at only $4.99.
And with this color monitor, the system was still less than $7.99.
It's IBM PC compatible and comes with easy-to-use desk-made software.
So the kids can do homework, and we can play Christmas music.
And the $200 savings helps me balance our budget.
Save $200 on the Tandy 1000HX, only $4.99 with software. Complete system less than $7.99. Only at Radio Shack.
It's the trestle of terror, ladies and gentlemen. Chevy versus Ford going over 8-inch high landmines in a test of 4x4 ground clearance. The full-size Chevy clears the mines front and rear. The Ford clears up front, but it's too low in back. In 4-wheel drive ground clearance, Chevy beats Ford. No wonder when it comes to pickups, America's having a change of heart.
The heartbeat of America. That's the day Chevy truck.
Monday on Alp, Willie is Mr. Bob.
How come there's weeds in this salad? It's radicchio. You cooking is radicchio.
And Kate's cooking up a surprise of her own.
I'm gonna have a baby.
And when the Hogans become chimney sweeps, their unusual style lands them on the news.
What's he doing up there? And why isn't he wearing any pants?
Then Rue McClanahan has 4 daughters.
You're all getting married.
And she'll do anything
We're looking for single men.
to hear him say, I do. Take my daughters, please. It's a great night, Monday.
Thanksgiving Day, the NFL plays here when the Oilers battle the Cowboys.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL Live.
How do you spell defense? That's one group of fans. Buffalo spells it. Defense.
We get the message. We get the message. We understand.
These Jets are an interesting team, though. They do not quit. As Joe Walton says, some weeks we don't play well, but we always play hard, and they're doing that today as Buffalo has been misfiring and coming apart with penalties. And now the Jets are mounted the first challenge of this game for a score as Freeman McNeil again weaves into the Buffalo defense. And on a first down, Terry, he takes the ball down to the 8-yard line.
Yeah, the one thing you can't do in games like this, of course, is beat yourself. And when you have 6 penalties in the first quarter, very, very misleading. But look at the penalty yards. 6 penalties for 50 yards and an ejection. In this drive, the Jets have gained 59 yards and have been the recipient of 25 yards by penalties. The Bills have got to regain their composure here, Don.
Jets, who considered it so important to get up early, trying to get points now. Second down. Running hard is Hector, and he's knocked down on the play. Coming over to get him was outside linebacker Darryl Talley. Talley, who grades out as high as any defensive player on the team in his 6th year from West Virginia. The Bengals on a 51-yard touchdown run by James Brooks out in front of Dallas. We look at the rest of the scoreboard on Sunday, number 12, and of course we'll be updating everything that's happening today at NFL Live at halftime. Interesting story breaking before the game on NFL Live when Giant linebacker Harry Carson, a key part of their great success of 2 years ago and really for the last 12 seasons, Said he's so disappointed over being out from 4 weeks with his knee surgery that he might come back next year after announcing his retirement.
Speaking of coming back, Bruce Smith back on the field, Don.
What a stick by Shane Conlon. Nate Owens came also, and so did Bentley. The inside backers, Bentley and Conlon, firing out like bazookas. This guy can play.
He probably doesn't get as much press as the other members of this defense. Certainly Bennett and Smith, they get the most, but Conlon's right there to stand Hector up and nails him, and Pat Leahy on for a field goal, which would be a real moral victory for Buffalo.
But not bad for the Jets to go up first.
Oh, it helps.
Pat Leahy, who's been good for years and years, his 15th season, the 6th all-time score in NFL history. And the field goal attempt, as it usually is with Pat Leahy, is up and good. He's hit on 15 of 19 this season, and the Bills, a substantial underdog, have taken the lead, 3-0.
What do you think of the Ford Festiva?
It's big.
It's small. Sort of a big smallness.
Cutest little thing.
Festiva gives you features like a roomy interior, 660 powertrain warranty, sometimes even your own parking space. So it's big and small.
How about Festiva's price?
It's small.
Small.
It's nothing.
Ford Festiva. Call it big, call it small. Call it yours for only $56.99.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
Your man in Washington has come through?
The Americans will be most displeased. Observe the argon-activated radio-optic laser light.
Amusing, Boris, but the party demanded Bud Light.
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Where is Boris? He is enjoying a cold one.
Bud Light, because everything else is just a light.
Gentlemen, we can do better. After all, life's not black and white.
Somewhere over the rainbow.
I'm just not sure. Why not phone this image to Dr. Wheatley in London? At AT&T, we've always been committed to helping the people of the world communicate better. It's funny how the future seems to repeat itself.
Good meeting.
Oh, arigato.
And the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true.
Today's game is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Braun Electric Shavers. It is through superior design that superior performance can be achieved. And by Denorex Shampoo. Help stop dandruff itch with an extra relief medicine. Denorex.
A defensive meeting on the Buffalo sideline with Walt Corey, the defensive coordinator. As the kickoff now comes downfield, and here comes Rob Riddick returning it for the Bills. The Jets excel on kick coverage. There's a hard strike on Riddick, but he is able to squirm ahead for about the 24-yard line. John Prudy, another rookie defensive back, made the stop for the Bills. So for the Jets, as the Bills send their offense out, Jim Kelly. You see his numbers so far today, but that one pickoff when the Bills were down close at the 2-yard line. Hasty went up and came down with the ball. Jets with the first points of the day on the Pat Leahy field goal. Rain has stopped now. Temperatures dropped a bit. Lights are on. Be in the high 30s now. As the Bills now set up their 24-yard line. Thurman Thomas, who broke those big runs in that first drive, gets ahead for only about 3, and now the referee fires a penalty marker in from behind the play. Scott Mercereau, the nose tackle, made the stop for the Jets.
Face mask Jets. Don, I think the refereeing crew here, knowing the way these two teams feel about each other.
Face mask, defense number 94. It is a 5-yard penalty. We will repeat the down. First down.
I think the officiating crew is trying to get control of this game. They don't want reprisals for Leonard Smith being thrown out. They want to do the best job they possibly can to try to keep things even here and keep tempers under control.
First and 2 with the ball is positioned now. Free ball. Looks like Thomas might have gotten it back. Thurman Thomas unable to make the connection with Jim Kelly on the handoff.
a big hole there, too, Don. If he gets through there, he's going to gain 8 to 10 yards.
And a reminder to our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of the game.
Watch here. There's a nice little spot for him to run up through there. But it looks like Kyle Clifton, 59, just gets his hand on the ball.
Second down, a long two for the Bills. Jets lead at second quarter, 3-0. Mueller, not much there. Jet backers shooting the gap very quickly. Alex Gordon was in from the left side. Number 55, he was on the play. And so was Fraze, a rookie defensive end from Syracuse, Paul Fraze.
Last weekend, the game against New England on this Jet defense, Benson and Kyle Clifton combined for 35 tackles. Of course, there was an awful lot of running because the rain was so bad. But you see Alex Gordon, the outside linebacker. He's just... Thomas goes right between his legs, and he's there to make the tackle. Here's a third down, Rob Riddick area.
Jets overall play much improved, though, from the previous meeting with the Bills when the floodgates opened early and the Bills scored on their first 5 possessions.
Didn't get it.
Riddick tries to go over the top. Jets think they throw him back. And we'll see what the spot is. That's the all-important as the linesman comes in.
Did not get it. They're going to punt.
Bud Carson cheering his defense, a job well done. So the Bills stall again and have to punt the ball to the Jets as Townsell, #1 punt returner in the AFC, and thinking the NFL at this point of a 12.3 return average, is back for the Jets.
Robin Cole, number 90, does a great job there, and that play is stuffed, absolutely stuffed for no gain.
John Kidd hits a beauty, a booming long spiral that drives Townsell all the way back to his 15. He loses the handle. And then the knockdown is made at the 15-yard line. Jet helmet went flying off, and 2 people are swinging. School's out now.
And there's somebody in there without a helmet.
And a Bill is down in great pain at the 18-yard line. Ronnie Harmon. Might not be. A 51-yard punt. Steve Tasker. He's an important player. He went to the Pro Bowl as the AFC Special Teams Pro Bowl player. Steve Tasker.
The fight starts away from this tackle. There's Tasker right down at the bottom there.
So on the day the Bills thought they were going to wrap it up, they're in a war.
A performance you won't forget. Ford Probe GT.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
Before you even touch this camera, you're going to want to own it. The incredible 35mm Infinity Super Zoom 300. New from Olympus.
It started a car deserted on a frozen lake for 4 months, and 40 cars after 2.5 hours with their lights left on. Today's Die Hard, America's #1 replacement battery, with power to start your car, and a whole lot more.
In all the world, no one watches TV, loves TV, or is more critical of TV than Americans. So it's not surprising that in a nation of experts, the television of choice comes from the people with nothing less than the most ingenious technology in the industry, RCA. Just one reason more Americans buy RCA video equipment than any other. RCA, #1, with the toughest critics in the world.
Next Sunday, the NFL plays here. The Bills' Jim Kelly goes eye-to-eye with the Bengals' Boomer Esiason in a shootout between the top 2 powerhouses of the AFC.
Or it's a must-win game for 2 playoff hopefuls when the Browns head to the nation's capital to battle the Redskins.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL Live.
Pro Bowl special teamer Steve Tasker appears to be all right. Banged up on covering the kick. Now the Jets come out of the huddle with a 3-0 lead. Deep in their own end now. They're scouting inside their 15-yard line. Roger Vick, big and fast. The #1 pick of 2 years ago out of Texas A&M breaks it ahead, and he's got an 11-yard gain and a first down for the Jets. Bentley was on a tackle with Dwight Green. Bengals look like they're heading to another victory today.
AFC Central is winning, with the exception of Pittsburgh.
Chicago Bears, the only team that beat the Bills, 21-3, up on Tampa Bay. Bears beat the Bills 24-3 early in the season. Back to the run. Again they go to Roger Vick, and Darrell Taylor got him, number 56. Game clock down to 9:10 to play in the first half, and it's still a 3-0 game Jets. Bills are the thinking, Trump, that the pass rush with quarterback hurries is sometimes more productive than quarterback sack. That was an evidence Monday night when Dan Marino was not sacked, but he was hurried all night and threw 3 interceptions.
But it's certainly no factor to this point in the game. Jets offensive line has done an outstanding job of getting Pat Ryan time to throw.
Ryan with a quick deep drop over the middle to Mickey Schuler. And Schuler's out across the 40, and he has a Jet first down to the 43-yard line. Mickey Schuler didn't play in that October game against the Bills, but in his last 5 games against the Bills, he has scored a touchdown in every game.
Now, one of the factors that the Bills now have to deal with, this is the way they started this game with defensive backs. And now with injury and also an ejection, you got Drain and Davis playing, and the Jets are going to, you can bet, they'll try to exploit that for the rest of the day. We've not heard about Derek Burrows returning. Well, we certainly know that Leonard Smith won't. He was the one ejected. So now the Jets have some self-confidence here.
They have played very well, the Jets. Leading 3-0. Ryan with a play fake and a deep drop, and there's a throw downfield, and Cornelius Bennett was right there on the intended receiver, Johnny Hector, out of the backfield, as you see Ryan getting up after the throw. Cornelius Bennett, there's one thing that stands out about him more than any other. It's just his sheer speed.
He's at the line of scrimmage, almost faking the blitz, and then drops back in coverage. He is stride for stride with Johnny Hector. Cuts underneath. Able to just get the ball away. Ryan now 4 of 8 for 71. And that time, Bruce Smith got to Pat Ryan, put him on his keister, didn't sack him, but at least it's one of those hurries you were talking about, Don.
And that brings up 2nd down and 10 for the Jets. 7:45 to play first half. The Jets lead the game 3-0. McNeil, who ran well early, now shut down. It's going to be 3rd and long for New York. Bentley, 50 up the bottom of the pile. He's a free agent, inside linebacker from Central Michigan.
Last time we saw Cornelius Bennett drop back in coverage, Bentley made that tackle, but watch Bennett here. He's down. He's over the tight end. Gets inside the tight end. And makes the initial hit on the tackle. Times it looks like there's 15 Buffalo Bills playing defense out there, not 11.
Bills defense tightening up on this drive as Pat Ryan sets in the shotgun. Back at his 40. As you see, 3rd down and 8. Here comes the rush on a stunt. Cornelius Bennett double team. Long ball. Altoon has it and loses it at the 29-yard line. What a perfect throw. But the defenders were there harassing Altoon. He couldn't hold on. That's Nate Odoms, a 3rd-year corner out of Wisconsin.
I'm not exactly sure why Nate Odoms is celebrating, though, because that ball got to Altoon. Altoon, of course, at 6'4", very long arms. This ball, look, he just drops it. I'm not sure Nate Odoms has anything to do with that whatsoever, but it's an incomplete pass, and that's reason to celebrate.
Pocock runs it downfield. Johnson's back deep. Cliff Johnson is down at the 14-yard line, just missing a missile. Marion Barber was the Jet who shot in there. 41-yard punt, no return. We'll be back to Orchard Park in a moment.
Some people see shaving as something you do for 3 minutes a day. At Braun, We see it as something you do for a lifetime, and we think you should make the best of it. The Braun Shaver, with its 3 shaving positions. Designed for those who choose to make a virtue out of necessity. Braun, the world's #1 selling foil shaver.
Nature's light, bathing fields of grain, enriching full, fresh hops, giving life to sparkling streams, nourishing all the natural things that go into making Bud Light. The light beer that's beechwood aged for a clean, fresh taste that makes Bud Light the one light that outshines them all.
When I'm fighting dandruff, I want all the help I can get. So now I'm using new Extra Strength Denerex with 39% more dandruff medicine. For my dandruff and itch, there's 39% more medicine in new Extra Strength Denerex. For great-looking hair, I can't get too much of a good thing.
Learning how to talk fast is one way to save on international calls. U.S. Sprint's international long-distance sale is a better way. Save as much as 10 to 34% if you call now and switch.
America's favorite pastime returns to NBC as the nation's top rollers battle it out for Bowler of the Year honors. Join Jay Randolph and Hall of Famer Earl Anthony for the PBA Fall Tour next Saturday on NBC.
We've seen Bennett in coverage, stopping the run, and here on the pass rush, you see Mickey Schuler and Johnny Hector both trying to keep Cornelius Bennett off of Pat Ryan. They do a good job, even though they may have grabbed the jersey a little.
Back to live action, long ball down to Andre Riva. The connection is not made as running in pursuit was Bobby Humphrey. Jim Kelly letting the long ball fly with 6:35 to play in the first half. Humphrey in a foot race with Andre Reed as Kelly tries to burn the Jets on a first down throw.
Bobby Humphrey, the former wide receiver. I kind of get the feeling here a little bit that the Bills need a certain amount of desperation here, you know, going with that up top throw. This is a very high percentage offense they generally run. Now 2nd and 10, you're almost committed to either throw a screen or a draw or throw the ball for the next 2 downs.
The Bills drove on the Jets early in the game, got down close, then Kelly lofted a soft pass that Hasty picked off to start the drive. Kelly on 2nd and 10. Throwing a catch to Metzlaus, his tight end, who's out to the 22-yard line. They'll be short of a first down, gain of close to 8. Again,
that's an incomplete pass.
Oh, it's in. He lost it on the way down there.
Yeah, they're not giving it to him.
So with 6:30 left to go, it's 3rd down and 10 coming up. That 3rd down and 2. Kelly so far has thrown the ball 7 times, completed 3 for 21 yards. You'll recall that his first 3 throws were completions. He's 0 for 4 since now.
This time, good pressure that time by Gerald Nichols right in Kelly's face.
Kelly on 3rd and 10 stands in, and he runs right into trouble and somehow bails out. Now lets her fly, makes the connection. It was not going to be close to a first down anyway as Riddick lost the ball going out of bounds. And so the Bills now have to punt the ball from deep in their own end, and the Jets should get very good field position.
Jets with great pass rush on Jim Kelly, made him flush out of the pocket a little bit. He was looking around for a receiver, and great coverage down the field. So far, the Jets have played very, very well. Buffalo's kind of shot themselves in the foot with all those penalties in the first quarter, giving the Jets a feeling that, hey, we can win this game.
JoJo Townsell, who's been the best, returning punts, is dropping back deep now. Kurt Sohn is with him. John Kidd standing a yard deep in his end zone, will hit it about the 4. Jets set up a return and an end-over-end punt. And Townsell looks to run out of trouble, starting and stopping, and finally he's knocked out of bounds at the 48-yard line of Buffalo. With a plus field position start for the Jets as they start on the Buffalo side after a punt of just 34 yards by John Kidd. 6:10 to play, first half, and it's a 3-0 game Jets. As Bruce Smith and Cornelius Bennett come back on the field with the Bills defense. Cornelius Bennett got maybe the highest recommendation you could get when Ray Perkins, who coached him at Alabama, said he's the most dominant defensive player I've ever coached. And he coached Cornelius Bennett after he coached Lawrence Taylor at the Giants. When Bennett was in high school, after one playoff game, the opposing coach said, "Where's he going to college?" to Bennett's coach. Coach said he's got another year to play. He said, "Not against us." And the other team dropped him from their schedule.
That's impressive.
Breaking it open is Johnny Hector, who shot out of a pile of tacklers and rips it ahead for a Jet first down. This time they go off the right side, a 12-yard gain.
God, the Jets are continuing to run right side. Now that's the side where Art still is, 72. You see him standing up. And also at Cornelius Bennett. There's a huge hole there for Hector to get through. Great job of blocking by that Jets offensive line. Nice 12-yard pickup.
Dan Radakovich, the offensive line coach of the Jets. They've really been taking it to the best defensive front in football at this moment. But it has not been today, as this time Freeman McNeil gets the call for the Jets. And on a 1st and 10 play, he's inside the 30 for a gain of 7 yards before he's knocked down by Cornelius Bennett.
Todd, you can see the defensive line of the Bills standing there with kind of hands on hips. Bruce Smith saying, wait a minute, what's going on here? Last week we held the Miami Dolphins to just 33 yards rushing. The Jets are blowing holes wide open in that defense.
Rain starts to fall again. And Ryan back to the run. This time Darryl Kelly makes the play and the penalty marker's down.
It's against the Jets. Bills had 6 penalties in the first quarter.
Holding. Offense. Number 63. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 2nd down.
Ted Banker.
I'll tell you, this offensive line has really tightened up because Banker's back in the lineup after missing 4 weeks.
Banker playing left guard. He's on Smurless, and he just grabs him around the leg. And the umpire catches him. That was pretty easy, so that makes it 2nd and 13.
Clock running in the second quarter. 4 minutes and 30 seconds to play in the first half. 3-0 Jets. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy at Rick Stadium, Orchard Park, New York. As Ryan is a problem, that will be a sack back at the 48-yard line.
That was a rollout. And Bennett.
He rolled right into Cornelius.
Absolutely. There is a real roadblock for any rollout. First sack of the day by the Bills. This is a designed rollout. He's going to go screen left. When he turns around, Bennett standing right there. Whoop, breaks. Let's do something else. Nope. Get down there. Smurless comes in late.
Bennett, part of the trade, the Halloween trade of a year ago that made 3 teams appreciably better. Dickerson to the Colts, Cornelius Bennett comes to Buffalo as they got the signing rights to him from Indianapolis, and the Rams got all those draft choices, and 3 teams that have had a lot of problems in recent years are heading possibly to the playoffs. Certainly Buffalo is, as Bennett. Art Still now goes after Ryan. Look at that throw. Pat Ryan doing well to get rid of it on the run. As they call him in Buffalo, Art still crazy after all these years. He's a free spirit and a great team leader. Marv Levy said what he's meant to us is just unbelievable.
You know, he weighs about 255 pounds, Art Still does. In fact, at one time he went on this exotic diet in Kansas City, Art Still did, 72. Got down to about 235 or 40 pounds, could not play. Takes very good care of himself.
Marv Levy said he's absolutely a mistake-free football coach. Never seen a guy that makes the play every time. Is absolutely never out of position. Flip Johnson back deep. They'll put on the rush, but Kokoff delivers a very high punt. And the Jet coverers are down there, and they'll down the ball at about the 9-yard line. Ball was just tossed to the 9, actually down. They're going to rule. We'll see where they place. It looks like the lineman's going to come in at about the 9. That's where it'll be. A 37-yard punt. Coming up next on most of these NBC stations, stay tuned for the second half of our NFL doubleheader. Most of you will see the Broncos go against the Saints in a very important game for 2 playoff hopefuls, plus regional action. Check your local listings for the game in your area.
Don, the thing that you notice most now in this second quarter is that the Buffalo Bills have had very, very poor field position, so the Jets have won that part of the battle so far.
They surely have. Kelly went long on a 1st and 10 from down here. Now he goes to Thurman Thomas, and he's going to break it for a big gain. Thomas looks to have 10 yards and quite possibly a first down. Stopping the clock with 3:21 to play in the first half.
Eric McMillan makes the tackle. I haven't heard his name much. That was 9 or 10 yards on the game. It might be close enough for a measurement.
Joe Brown from the NFL office here saying that the NFL is probably going to have an all-time attendance record this year, 69th year of the league. And it's due largely in measure to Buffalo. 7 home games, 7 sellouts, 80,000. They'll have 80,000 for their final home game against the Raiders on December 12th. Thurman Thomas breaks it again. He's out across the 30 and out to the 33-yard line. So the Bills go back to what carried them downfield early, and that's the running game with the rookie Thurman Thomas carrying. And now they break some big gains at 12-yarder. 3:05 to play first half.
Again, a great job by the offensive line. Metzelar's 88, the tight end. Vogler, 65, pulls out front. Jamie Mueller, 39, leads. Thomas has surprising foot speed. He makes a lot of people miss just because they don't guess where he's going to be properly.
He's doing well now, Trump. 8 carries, 64 yards, and he's on his way again. As Thurman Thomas is ahead for about 2 yards. Good defense. Rich Miano, the strong safety, came up and made the play for the Jets, number 36.
With 2:32 to go in the first half, though, the Bills are going to have to throw this football. They got to use this clock very wisely. They have just 2 timeouts left. Ronnie Harmon comes in the ball game. There's the clock ticking down to the 2-minute warning. They got to throw here.
NFL Live at halftime. As right now, Jim Kelly dumps one over the middle to Andre Reed, running in the open field for the moment, and he's knocked down by Hasty. Andre Reed is ahead for very close to first down yardage. On a 2nd and 9 play, he got about 8, maybe more, as we look for the spot. Now the 2-minute warning is given.
We're not a company, but we recognize potential. We develop it. We use it. We'll make sure that as your responsibility grows, so will you. As your ability for leadership grows, so will you. Working with us, you'll gain self-confidence, become a person with a future. We're not a company. We're your country. We're the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
The handsome, dashing Ford Aerostar for $19.89. It's really quite a van about town. Traveling with the sports crowd. Playing the market. Escorting ladies. Pulling its own weight. Staying out all night. And powering its way to the top. Ford Aerostar. It's in a class by itself.
Now get a $500 cash bonus on Ford Aerostar.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
When you come to Radio Shack's Christmas sale for electronic gifts, buy this dual-powered calculator first for just $8.88 and keep track of the money you save.
Like these realistic bass reflex speakers, half price at $39.95 each.
Add this cordless phone to $20 savings, only $59.95.
And count on these LCD games for stocking stuffers, just $8.95 each.
That adds up to holiday savings.
The Christmas electronics sale, only at Radio Shack.
Next Sunday, the NFL plays here.
The Bills' Jim Kelly goes eye-to-eye with the Bengals' Boomer Esiason in a shootout between the top 2 powerhouses of the AFC.
Or it's a must-win game for 2 playoff hopefuls when the Browns head to the nation's capital to battle the Redskins.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL Live.
Burrow's back on the sideline. He's got a mouthpiece, and he's not having much luck talking, but watch what happens. He hits his head right on the knee of Freeman McNeil. That was in the first quarter. He's been out since. He had an x-ray. There was a dentist in there. We do not know what the injury is, but here's a big down, 3rd and short.
Byram's into block. Riddick's into run. On 3rd and less than a yard, Rob Riddick behind Byram, and he forces himself ahead for the first down. Byram, who played at Mississippi Valley with Jerry Rice of the 49ers, is a a 240-pound fullback, and when he hits anybody, the surge is the other way. And that time, Riddick fouled him over for the first down.
Jets are now taking a timeout. They changed their short yardage defense, and they were afraid the Bills were going to snap the ball with 10 guys on the field. So the Jets take a timeout.
Monday on Alf, Willie is Mr. Bob.
How come there's weeds in this salad? It's ridiculous. You cooking is ridiculous.
And Kate's cooking up a surprise of her own.
I'm gonna have a baby.
And when the Hogans become chimney sweeps, their unusual style lands them on the news.
What's he doing up there? And why isn't he wearing any pants?
Then Rue McClanahan has 4 daughters.
You're all getting married.
And she'll do anything
We're looking for single men.
to hear him say, I do. Take my daughters, please. It's a great night, Monday.
Still a 3-0 game. The Jets leading the favored Buffalo Bills here at Orchard Park, New York. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. That football celebration they're planning for Buffalo on delay right now.
Yeah, Jets doing a big hand to hold back that celebration as best they possibly can. Jets have played very well, and I think the Bills can best be described as playing with pressure. Knowing that they can win the division today, they have not really performed very well, either offensively or defensively.
Kelly out of the shotgun on 1st and 10. He looks, he throws, he's got a man. Andre Reed coming back at the ball, and he's running in the open field. Andre Reed inside the 30-yard line. With a minute and 28 seconds to play, Andre Reed takes it down to the 28.
You know, Andre Reed doesn't get a great deal of attention, but he, Al Toon, and Eddie Brown, along with Jerry Rice, all came from the same draft in 1985. That's a 27-yard pickup. Big play for Buffalo. Norwood's ready on the sideline. The Bills would prefer to have a touchdown.
Bills still with no points. Here's a throw, and Harmon can't hold on at the 17-yard line. Nice defense by Kyle Howard. Number 28, a free agent defensive back from Rutgers who helped free the ball. Incomplete pass, as you see, stops the clock with 1:04 to play half.
There have been Buffalo Bill receivers open, but I'll tell you, the defensive backs of the Jets are hanging all over him. Very, very close in coverage. That time, Carl Howard right there. Make sure that the ball is not delivered perfectly. He can make the interception. 6 DBs in the game for the New York Jets, Don.
Pass routes looking to come. Here they come with a blitz that they pick up, and Kelly on a sprint out throws into coverage, and somehow it is not picked off, but the receiver is split from the ball as Eric McMillan taunts. He's warned. No flag.
Bobby Humphrey knocked that ball away. You'll see that the pass go right over the middle again. Good initial coverage. Humphrey knocks it away, and then McMillan really hits the receiver and hits him hard. That's Andre Reed. And that's a little too much celebrating.
But no flag. Buffalo coaches still livid over losing a starting defensive back after they made a tackle on the sidelines. The violence of it we could not determine. It seemed like a regular throw out of bounds, but Leonard Smith was gone for the day. Now on 3rd and 10, Kelly goes to the run. Rob Riddick throws to Kelly. Kelly catches the ball. Jim Kelly's down to the 24-yard line. So the Bills delve into their bag of tricks. That's an old Southern California play. They've used that often. Notre Dame used to use it with Theismann. He's gotten a lot of yards over the years in college games. Now the Bills will let things tick on down as you look again on the replay.
Jets had it well diagnosed. Look at the players out there. You can see people. James Hasty, 40, is right there. It looks like finally Alex Gordon makes the tackle.
Bills setting up at their leisure. Our producer today for NBC Sports is Kenneth Edmondson. Our director, Ted Nathanson. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Weissman. As with 7 seconds left in the first half, the Bills let the clock tick down. They'll soon call a timeout. Now at 7 seconds they do. And they'll try a field goal, which, if good, would tie this game at 3. Norwood has been most effective. A free agent out of James Madison in his 4th year. He has hit 25 of 29 field goals this year.
He's also 6 of 8 from this distance. This is no chip shot. Looks like they're going to put it down at the 32. And you add 10 yards, a 42-yard attempt. He's 6 of 8 from 40 to 49.
Punter, John Kidd's his hold, as you pointed out earlier, Trump. Wind, which can often be a factor in November here in western New York, is not coming into play much today. Flags aren't straight out as they often are.
Jets
top the goalpost.
Jets trying to ice Norwood here. They call another timeout. Let Kidd think about it. I think they're also wondering if they might run a trick play. Marty Lyons, Larry Pasquale, the special teams coach, he's saying, watch out for this. I got to tell you, Don, I'm surprised that only 3 points have been scored in this game.
I think the Bills are, too.
It's a great shock, I think, to both teams. I think the Jets thought that they could score a lot more points, and the Bills obviously thought they could score a lot more points.
Bengals continue to lead the Cowboys. Houston still up on Phoenix as those three teams vying for the AFC Central crown, the Cleveland Browns included. The big lead at the half over Pittsburgh. And at halftime, we'll be going to NFL Live for reports on all the big plays on Sunday number 12. As a penalty marker goes down, now let's see what this is. It might be a delay of game call.
There's time on the clock. This is movement by the Buffalo Bills.
False start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty, still fourth down.
Howard Ballard. Boy, the Buffalo Bills have been their own worst enemy today. Penalties, dumb ones. The interception thrown by Jim Kelly. I thought he was trying to do too much, and now this penalty takes it back. It's a 44-yard attempt now.
You pointed out Norwood 6 of 8 from between the 40 and the 49.
This is a tough kick. That's enough. Oh, hit the crossbar.
A game of inches. It hits the crossbar and comes back, and the Jets will hold their lead with a second left to go.
I wonder how
first half.
I wonder how Ballard feels right now with the 5-yard penalty. It takes away 3 points. He hits it good. This ball seems to hang when it gets up in the air. There it looks like he's got enough leg. See, they're celebrating behind him. Watch it. Hits the crossbar perfectly. Bounces right back into the end zone.
Trick shot, but not the way he wanted it. And so the Jets will go to the locker room with a 3-0 halftime lead against a team that routed them at Giant Stadium the last time they played, 37-14. Marv Levy says of Howard Baylor, who weighs 315 pounds, he can't get much below that. But you couldn't get him to 290. He's a solid 315.
Wouldn't you think he could stay on sides, though? If he could have, they would have had a tie score.
So the underdog Jets very much in the game. In fact, in the lead. 3-0 as we go to halftime. The field goal by Pat Leahy in the second quarter was the difference in the game so far. NFL Live halftime activities will continue in a moment. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
It's been 6 years. 6 years since the Fury. 6 years since David Banner was pushed too far. Now they've stolen his woman and ruined his career. This time they've really gotten under his skin.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
He's mean, green, and pumped up for his greatest challenge ever. Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno in The Incredible Hulk returns Friday.
Hey, who's wearing a cheap cologne?
Smooth, cold-aged Genesee. It's not just a beer, it's a Jenny.
Your good neighbor Chevy dealers payload payout is Chevynomics in action. Forget about the old-fashioned Ford and save up to $2,200 on a full-size Chevy. Well, check out this S-Blazer 4x4 or this S10 pickup, and you can save up to $2,400 on either one. With a huge selection and tremendous savings, you'll never get more truck for less money. Right now during Chevy's payload payout at your good neighbor Chevy dealer. You'll never get more truck for less money.
Join me, Scott Brown, for JFK Remembered tomorrow, first at 5.
We welcome those of you watching the games in Buffalo and Kansas City. Bob Costas along with Ahmad Rashad and Gail Gardner. Let's start as we review the scores with that game in Buffalo. The Jets, in a certain sense, are beating the Bills at their own game in a tough defensive struggle on a Pat Leahy field goal. 3-0 Jets.
Jets are playing extremely well. Pat Ryan, in particular, is very, very sharp. But I know what happened in this game. They went in this game saying, Buffalo says all they need to do is to beat us. They clinch the division. Their battle cry was they're not going to beat us here. They played well the first half, but it seems to me that Buffalo is just now getting up to stuff. So I think that in the second half, it's going to be awful tough on the Jets. I expect the Bills to come back.
All right, Cincinnati is playing at Dallas. The Bengals come in with a record of 8-3. Dallas has lost 7 in a row. They're 2-9, and Cincinnati with the lead, 17-3. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. Their lowlights as far as Tom Landry is concerned, and his team has a tough schedule the rest of the way. It's possible, not meaning to be harsh, but possible they might not win again in 1988. Here's James Brooks, who's having a big season for the Bengals, averaging around 5.5 yards a carry, and that average is boosted by this 51-yard scoring run in the first quarter, 7-0 Bengals. Now in the second, Esiason off the play action fake hits the veteran tight end Rodney Holman, 20 yards and a touchdown. Esiason had been shut out in terms of touchdown passes 3 of the last 4 weeks. He rectifies that with the scoring throw to Holman, and he is the #1 rated quarterback in the AFC. Cincinnati leads it 17-3. Phoenix playing at Houston, and the Oilers just scored again. Warren Moon's having a big first half, well over 200 yards passing already. The Oilers, in a battle of 7 and 4 teams, leading 24-7 near the end of the first half at the Astrodome. Cliff Stout is at quarterback for the Cardinals with Neil Lomax hurt. Stout has had a slow start, although he did throw a 52-yard touchdown pass to Robert Awol. Elsewhere, Cleveland and Pittsburgh in a quagmire. In Cleveland, the Browns lead it 17-7. Now, all season long, Chuck Noll's team has had difficulty getting off a simple punt. That difficulty is compounded in the rain today. Watch what happens early on in the game. This ball is snapped over the head of Harry Newsom, their punter. Just about everybody has a shot at the ball, and eventually Will the Thrill Hill of the Browns comes up with it. It leads to a Bernie Kosar touchdown pass, and at that point it was 10-0. It became 17-0 when Newsom tried to punt again. Stephen Braggs moves in, takes a tough shot in the midsection, but that's what he's paid to do on special teams. It bounces into the arms of number 31, Frank Minifield, who runs it in for a touchdown. That was the 6th punt that Pittsburgh has had blocked against them this year. It's a dubious NFL record. The Bears are playing at Tampa Bay, and they're having their own way on the Bucs home field. 21-6 is the score. Tom Zach has thrown a 40-yard touchdown pass to Brad Muster. Neil Anderson has a 1-yard and a 17-yard touchdown run. Vinny Testaverde was intercepted on the Bucs' first possession. 27th time this year he's been picked off. It's the highest figure in the league. Minnesota leads at home against Indianapolis on 2 Chuck Nelson field goals. 6-0 is the score. It's been 2 years since the Vikes have allowed a 100-yard rushing performance against them. Eric Dickerson has 55 yards on 14 carries in the first half for Indy. Kansas City has just gone to halftime at home with a lead over Seattle. Now, a week ago, they came from behind and upset Cincinnati, and they're leading the 6-5 Seahawks 14-7. Gail?
Well, one thing they've been able to do, Bob, that they haven't really all year is put the ball in the end zone via the ground. 2 rushing touchdowns all year till today, both your touchdowns on the ground. The other thing, from the other point of view, is that Dave Craig has not had good games against Kansas City. Today, he is playing well, but they have not been able to run.
It's Detroit Lion head coach Wayne Font's debut, at least as the interim man, taking over for the fired Darryl Rogers. And on 3 Eddie Murray field goals, the Lions lead at Milwaukee County Stadium over the Packers, 9-0 at halftime. Both clubs come into this one with a record of 2-9. Stand by. Frank DeFord will be here next with his halftime commentary, and we'll do that following these messages from your local stations.
Can you look into the camera and tell them to watch the Comedy Store reunion?
Comedy Store.
Rolling? Are we rolling,
Bob? The 15-year class reunion. Only.
What the hell is he saying? This is not a series.
Well,
it's not even a mini-series where they do like 3 or 4.
What's it called again? Wait a minute.
It is so fabulous. No, this is just one night.
9 o'clock or something? Comedy Store now. Reunion.
Okay, I could do it shorter.
This year at your Dodge dealer, we're more committed to you than ever. It's the new spirit of Dodge, and it shows in our commitment to bring you the world's best, like our imported Dodge Colt and Ram 50 pickup, both backed by our 336 bumper-to-bumper warranty, and now both with $500 cash back. Join us in our commitment to quality and service. It all comes together here at your Dodge dealer, where the new spirit shows.
See your nearby Team Dodge dealer.
1-900. Are you hooked? Phone hang-ups. Tuesday on News Center 2 Nightside.
We reach that point in the proceedings where we say hello to Frank DeFord, and normally his commentary would deal with football, but we give him wide editorial leeway, and what's caught his interest this week is the filling of the last remaining managerial openings in baseball. There were a half-dozen jobs up for grabs since the end of the '88 season. Now they've all been filled, and none of them by a minority candidate.
No, Bob, as a matter of fact, in the year and a half since Sal Campanis unwittingly revealed to America how racially backward baseball could be, there have altogether been 21 managerial openings, and only one went to a black, and Frank Robinson was invited to take over a team that literally couldn't win a game. Blacks not only get so few opportunities, but they certainly don't get the plum jobs. Back in August of '87, Hal McRae of the Kansas City Royals became one of a handful of black men to be offered a managerial job, the interim chief of the Royals for the balance of that season. He felt it best to turn the job down, and today I asked Hal, who is now a minor league batting coach with the Pirates, if he harbored any second thoughts about that decision.
No, not really. I wouldn't take a job under those circumstances if it was offered to me again. My decision was final. I'm happy doing what I'm doing now. I'm the minor league hitting instructor for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I'm very happy in that capacity, and I live at home now, and I work out of the house. So, you know, I'm very happy with my decision and my job.
Hal, do you and other blacks think that baseball is abjectly racial, straight out racial, or is perhaps it more benignly so? A situation where the old boy network applies, and the teams, the general managers and owners only hire people that they're familiar with?
Well, I think the owners have a tendency to hire people they're comfortable with, but then when you have a racism in society, then naturally you're going to have it in baseball and professional sports.
You know, Bob, Hal's son Brian is a terrific prospect, AA in the Royal system, and we talked about how any young black player is just naturally bound to play happier and with more pride if his organization is one that hires and promotes blacks in managerial positions. The irony of not hiring black managers and coaches is that it isn't just backward, it isn't just immoral, it's stupid, it's bad business.
You know, Frank, this is an issue so easily misunderstood, and there are a lot of people out there watching who think that anytime this subject comes up, that the call is going out for some kind of quota or affirmative action program. There can be reasonable disagreement about the appropriateness and effectiveness of such programs. Some people believe in them.
Not a whole lot happened on the offensive end in the first two quarters here at Orchard Park, New York, where the underdog Jets are holding to a 3-0 lead over the Buffalo Bills. This was a very big play. Leonard Smith, starting strong safety for the Bills, throws the Jet receiver Wesley Walker out of bounds, and the official in his wisdom elected to eject Leonard Smith for the game. That was one major problem the Bills had, and this was maybe the biggest. After an offside penalty set them back 5 yards further, Scott Norwood's field goal attempt at the close of the first half hit the crossbar and came back out. No good. So it's been that kind of a day for the Bills, who are hoping to close out the rest of the AFC East and win the division just the 12th week of the season by beating a team they routed earlier on the Jets' home field. But the Jets have come in running the ball well, Trump, and very inclement weather is now pouring rain out. They play one of their better games.
Yeah, I think the move to Pat Ryan has helped the Jets quite a bit, because basically he's been a little more mobile. He's avoided the sack. He's only been sacked once, and I think that's what Joe Walton and his staff really wanted. The running game has worked. In the first quarter, I thought the Buffalo Bills could not have played any worse than at any time that they have this season. They just, with all the penalties, and they just didn't seem to have things in sync. They seemed to get control of it in the second quarter, but then the Jets kind of came along. So 3-0, and they missed their only chance for points.
It could heat up a lot in the second half. 80,000 people are here looking to celebrate a divisional championship, something Buffalo's not had in 8 years. And Buffalo in very good position, of course, to go to the playoffs with a home field advantage throughout. The Bills have not had a home playoff game since January 1st, 1967, when they were beaten by the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chiefs went on to Super Bowl I, only to be obliterated by the Packers of Lombardi.
Yeah, but that means that there's never been a playoff game here in Rich Stadium. So what's the weather like? You're from this area. What's the weather like December 31st to January 1? What could you expect if they do win today and host throughout there?
I think the weather here is like it is in every Great Lakes city. It's cold. The weather's no different here than it is in Cleveland or Detroit or New England or probably even New York for the most part.
Well, a lot's been mentioned about the prospect of having a playoff game here December 31st or January 1. Are we talking about 12 feet of snow? Are we talking about ice? What generally happens here?
I think you can have all of the above. I guarantee it'll be cold. It won't be as bad as it was in Cincinnati, where it was 59 below.
No, it'll never be that bad inside your freezer.
Well, right now, we have a pouring rain coming down at Rich Stadium as we look at the first half numbers. The Bills, who've had a lot of offensive production, have been pretty well shut down. Both teams with a lot of penalty yards. Look at that, 145 penalty yards.
They don't have that right. That's total yards.
Total yards.
Total yards. The Bills have 6 penalties in the first half. We know that for sure. But the total yards for each team is 145. That's not penalty yards. Time of possession very even.
The Jets have been doing a great job, Trump, on pass defense against New England in a 1-point loss a week ago. The Jets held the Patriots to 77 yards passing, and they've shut down Kelly 58 yards in the first half today.
Yeah, the other thing is, too, of course, Buffalo last week really shut down the Miami Dolphins running the ball. They only had 33 yards rushing. Today, the Jets have 81. So the Jets are accomplishing some things, and already a first for Buffalo. Marv Levy believes this team can come back from a lot of adversity because it's not a veteran team, but in the right spots they've got some very experienced players. Of course, with Jim Kelly's time in the U.S. Football League and all the rest of the time, he's a very experienced player, but they kind of lost their composure defensively in that first quarter, and that really set the tone for the rest of the half, Don.
Jim Kelly professes to like it ugly, and he's got it now, as is the case throughout the Northeast. The heavy rains have swept into western New York. So the passing game should be limited. Trump, you think this rain favors either side?
No, it does not. But it also doesn't hurt either side. If you both got a plan, if the only really weather that you can't stand is the wind, then it favors you, and it's also your enemy.
This kickoff is sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Rob Riddick takes the ball for the Bills and crosses the 15-yard line. And gets out to the 27-yard line. That's one thing about the artificial turf fields. There's still good tracks even when they're soaking wet like this one is. Jim Kelly gets set to bring out the Buffalo offense. Kelly, 5 of 12 throwing the ball in the first half. All 5 to Andre Reed, the completions.
This field is unique in that it's one of the few fields you'll find in the NFL that's exclusively for football. And the reason I say it's unique is this field is crowned 18 inches, which is an awful lot. An awful lot. You can't find another field like this in the NFL.
That's right. They run sweeps here. They're coming at you downhill. Very high crown. This is one of the reasons why. A rainy day. And here is Thurman Thomas, who started off the game running the ball well and opens the third quarter doing the same as he gets out close to the 40-yard line. That standout rookie safety Eric McMillan makes the hit for the Jets, but he does it 12 yards downfield as Thurman Thomas is now up to 77 yards running the ball.
If there is an advantage for either team, I think in the last 5 or 6 games, the yardage that the Bills have gained rushing is close to 170 yards a game, and you got to give them a little plus. The Jets have had trouble running the ball the last 5 or 6 games.
Thurman Thomas taken on by a tackler. Inside backer Troy Benson stuck him, number 54. Played at the University of Pittsburgh. He has really come on this season as a Jet in his 3rd year. The Jets across their defensive front have Tom Baldwin, Scott Mercereau, and Marty Lyons. It's Alex Gordon being blocked on.
Metzelaars does a good job, but from inside, Troy Benson there to make the tackle. Just 3 yards on the pickup. Boy, it's got to be uncomfortable out there.
Temperature in the high 30s now. And a hard rain falling. 3-0 Jets early in the 3rd quarter. Tip ball incomplete at the 49. Romaine Johnson was the intended receiver.
James Hasty was the man in coverage. Somebody got a hand up right at the line of scrimmage. Now, obviously, in this kind of weather, you throw out your game plan if you came in thinking you're going to throw it deep and you go with the short stuff. The Jets come in with their 6 defensive backs. They'll have a 4-man rush, including Alex Gordon and 1 linebacker. Well, take it back. They've got 7 defensive backs in the ballgame, Don.
Kelly from the shotgun. Defense over the top, and a flag comes in on Miano. Third down play, a very big one as the call goes against the Jets, so that'll keep the drive alive. Earl Miano hit the receiver, Flip Johnson, before the ball got there.
Gerald Nichols with good pressure. Here's the call.
Pass interference. Defense, number 36. First down.
That's a tough call because it's an automatic first down. Kelly is flushed in the pocket here by Gerald Nichols. Once again, there's also a safety blitz. Carl Howard, 28, coming in there. I don't think there's any argument from Joe Walton on that one. Rich Miano, 36. And Kelly goes to the turf, wet and hard.
Every penalty makes someone happy. The coach whose team wasn't penalized. First down carry. Jets come hitting hard on Ronnie Harmon. Alex Gordon came up 55. And Rich Miano.
And we got another flag.
Point at the Bills on this one.
Point at the Jets.
Face mask. Defense, number 55. It is a 5-yard penalty. We will repeat the
Alex
down.
Gordon, 55.
First down.
So the Bills have gotten 2 first downs in this second half, both by penalty. Not a bad start.
Don't be dumb and don't be dirty. Axiom of Marv Levy said he was down here in Buffalo to Houston by 2 touchdowns late in the game. The Oilers kept 2 drives alive with dumb personal fouls, and the Bills won it. Here is Rob Rose running hard, breaks into open field and gets out of bounds at the Jet 35-yard line.
Did you see the block by Jamie Mueller? Oh my goodness.
15-yard gain.
Jamie Mueller leads. This is unbelievable. He had James Hasty. It looked like helmet to helmet and just ejected him right off the field.
Cincinnati smarting from the loss at Kansas City, winning big today. That's the next opponent of the Bills. But could be a preview of the AFC title game. They're both the best records in the AFC. First and 10, Riddick opens into the Jets secondary, sprinting ahead with both hands on the ball. Mercer over the nose tackle, knocked off the play, recovers to knock him down. And on a first down carry, the gain is all the way down to the 28-yard line.
Don, watch this play before. The big game by Rob Riddick.
At 7.
You're going to see Jamie Mueller, 39, come out. Watch the hit. Boom, it's Bobby Humphrey. He absolutely parks. And Riddick turns up the field for a first down pickup, and it's 7 on that carry. And now the Bills are controlling the line of scrimmage.
And 2nd and 3, back to Riddick, and again the same trap blocking. Vogler just takes his man and puts him down flat. The right guard on the Bills, Tim Vogler, a free agent out of Ohio State. The Bill coaches call the key to their running game. A 285-pound guard, number 65. He's putting people flat on their back.
Had arthroscopic surgery on his knee, missed 4 weeks, and really doesn't practice a lot during the week here.
Don't practice at all because the knee's still sore.
They give him a lot of treatment. He goes to a lot of meetings and watches a great deal of film and lifts some weights. And he can't go through an entire practice. He goes through the walkthrough on Saturday. And no strain on his knees, though.
Ken Hull, a 275-pound center, a former All-USFL player. Richard and Vogler the guards, Wolford and Devlin the tackle. Reverse on the run, and running hard is Andre Reed, and he is down to the 15-yard line. From the 24 on a first down play, the Bills again get big yardage. Now they're starting to hoop it up here in Orchard Park. Between 8 and 9 yards in that.
Bobby Humphrey makes the tackle. Now you almost have to treat this as a pass. As slippery as things are, there's Vogler, 65, turns everybody inside. There's a good block here on Alex Gordon by Jim Kelly, number 12. And then Richard, number 51, also another good block. Ends up being an 8-yard pickup. You can almost treat that as a pass.
Bills running the ball well on this drive. And they go right back to the run as Riddick takes it straight ahead. And
look at this.
He's not done as he gets to the 11-yard line. He has a first down for the Bills. A 2nd down and 2 plays. First down, Buffalo.
The amazing thing about Rob Riddick is his second effort. He goes into the pile and appears to be stopped. Bounces off that pile and continues to pick up. Now look, see, the Jets do a good job here at the point of attack. That's Marty Lyons, 93, who gets his hands on him. Riddick now 7 carries, 44 yards. Miano makes the tackle. Not until he picks up a first down. Scored 7 touchdowns in 7 straight games.
This Bill drive, old-time football, coming off the ball and knocking people back has ignited the 80,000 here at Rich Stadium. Now a throw, and again an errant one as there was pressure on from Alex Gordon. Herman Thomas was the intended receiver, but as you saw, Kelly was not close. Game clock shows 10:25 to play in the third quarter. 3-0 Jets as it stood at the half.
This drive started at the Buffalo Bills' 27-yard line. Alex Gordon is probably the Jets' best pass rusher. He goes by Metzelar's 88, gets inside Byram and Joe Devlin. And there's Gordon coming from nowhere. Somebody was in there.
Alex Gordon, of course, a left outside linebacker. Pitch back. Thurman Thomas. Blockers in front. And Thurman Thomas weaves down the sideline and down close to the 6-yard line. A very shifty back. And like all the good ones, has that exceptional ability to change speeds and directions.
Well, it looks pretty obvious here. Here's Andre Reed, 83. One of the things you need with a good running game is great blocking by your wide receivers. Humphrey able to get up and almost make the tackle. You're right. This is old-time football. It's strange, though. Thomas doesn't run up the middle. He runs to the corners. Now you got Harmon and Riddick in there.
Third down and 4 for the Bills. Up the middle, the carry to Harmon on a draw play, and the Jets shut it down. Eric McMillan, the free safety, came up and made the stop. And so the Bills' drive is stalled, and they'll try again to tie the game. And we know that field goal at the close of the second quarter. When it bounced off the crossbar, no good.
That's after a 5-yard penalty. He would have made it had the penalty not been on Mr. Ballard.
Howard Ballard, a 315-pound debutante who was in there to block.
Not to be offsides.
Mastodon. High game with 9:32 to play in the third quarter. 3-3. We'll be back with the Bills kickoff after this.
This year, the world's automakers will once again offer hordes of imitation BMWs. Meanwhile, for under $25,000, BMW offers something infinitely more valuable. The new BMW 325i. Why settle for a copy when you can own an original?
Quick, up here.
He looks just like you.
Looking all right yourself, kid. Now, when you buy a $5 book of McDonald's gift certificates, you get a free plush musical ornament of Oliver or Dodger, the characters from the new Disney movie Oliver and Company, now only at a theater near you. Oliver and Dodger make great gifts and even play a tune.
Hey, Dodge, we make beautiful music together.
Yeah, kid.
Your holiday place, McDonald's.
The new Remington Microscreen Ultimate with the exclusive beard lifter stretches the skin and lifts whiskers other shavers leave behind. The new Remington Microscreen Ultimate shaves as close as a blade and closer than any other electric shaver or your money back.
Oh, hot! Designer sweats, remote control, everything. VP at 28. Whoa! My imported beer, whatever's in this week.
When you're done kidding around, Heineken.
Today's game is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To arrange a thorough test drive, phone your nearest BMW dealer. By Remington, your grooming expert. And by the good time, great taste of McDonald's.
And to drive, 13 plays, 67 yards. Scott Norwood's right foot, the payoff end, as he now is the leading scorer in the National Football League with 102 points. The Jets very much in this battle. A lot of people expected them to be out of early. 3-3 game with 9:32 to play in the third quarter. Rain has stopped. JoJo Townsell and Bobby Humphrey are back deep for the Jets.
At the last drive, Don, 5 minutes and 18 seconds, and almost exclusively by the run. Now the Jets have to answer that drive. Come back with a long drive running the ball, too. Even McNeil was carrying the ball very well in the first quarter.
Last 4 games, the Bills' defense has given up a total of 12 points, 3 points a game on the average. Miami 31-6. Before that, 13-3. Over Seattle, before that, they shut out Green Bay 28-0. And the Jets held to 3, but so have the Bills been held to 3. Carlton Bailey was down there to make the play as Townsell lost his footing on the return, and the Jet offense comes out. Pat Ryan playing with the gloves on, started fast in the first half, throwing those strikes, hit the L2 with a couple of big ones, a 13-yarder and a 21-yarder.
Don, I noticed the Jets have got 2 tight ends in the ball game, Schuler and Griggs.
Could be going to Freeman McNeil. He's run well in this game. McNeil, the lone setback on first down. McNeil, they're keying on him now after he broke some big ones on that same play. Straight at the Bill defense.
Well, the Jets pretty much have to do the same thing the Bills just did. Run the ball down the field for a score.
The Cowboys very much in the running for the #1 draft choice. They go into that game 2-9, soon to be 2-10. The Bears looking for home field in the NFC. Go to Chicago or go to Buffalo in January, and the home team has a big home field advantage when the wind blows and the temperature's down in the teens. Stick and a stop by that bear of a man at middle guard, the nose tackle, Fred Smerlas.
Dick tried to cut that ball back, and Smerlas was right there. Well, the defense really hasn't played today like they're taking no prisoners, but they didn't in the first half. But the best part of this football team is its defense. Now score tied 3-3. You need to play field position. That's why the Bills got to think, stop them right here. Make them punt the ball. And look for Schuler here, Don. Mickey Schuler.
Let's see as they go to 3rd and 5. Wesley Walker in motion. Pat Ryan takes his drop from the shotgun. Throw and a catch. It's L2 and it's a Jet first down. Out to the 35-yard line. Herbie Jackson was defending a former Jet. 10-yard gain on the play. There's a penalty marker down though, and the Bills think it's against the Jets. Here's Hantak, the official, bringing it back. Tide has turned because of the play of the Bills defense.
Holding. Offense, number 63. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 3rd down.
That penalty is on Ted Banker, 63. Bruce Smith on the pass rush. He's on Banker, goes outside to Criswell. And he gets double teamed, and then Banker pulls him right down. That wasn't a big hold, but that's what they're going to call it on. Bruce Smith is saying, hey, where's the flag? Well, right behind you, Bruce. There you go.
So Pat Ryan with the heat on now, despite the cold and this day, as it's 3rd down and 15, and they go to the run to try to offset the rush, and the Bills have the run carrier, and all of a sudden he gets away and gets ahead out to the 18-yard line. Still and Kelso knocked it out. Hector broke tackles to get away, but the Jets now, Trump, have to punt it from deep in their own end.
Not enough for the first down. Bills defense had that luxury, knowing how they needed about 17, 18 yards. They could play back a little bit to Kelso gets up a little shaky. Guy has a habit of putting his head into people so hard he forgets where he is, who he is, and what he's doing.
Kelso's excellent student at William & Mary. He was an NCAA postgraduate scholarship winner, had a 3.6 average for 4 years. His coach at Buffalo, Marv Levy, was formerly a head coach at William & Mary.
I would imagine Mark Kelso right now can't remember what school he went to. Has to go over and kind of shake the cobwebs out a few minutes, and he'll be fine.
Jeffrey Abramowski and Doc Weiss seeing him off the field.
Cliff Johnson now's got to hang on to this punt. Don't be fancy with it, just catch it.
Beautiful hit by Prokop. Long spiral downfield. Cliff Johnson's going to have to let it roll. We're talking about near record numbers for Prokop on that boot. It goes out of bounds all the way back at the 17-yard line. It's over 60. We're waiting for the official number. 64 is it for Joe Prokop, so he gets the Jets out of a hole.
We're not a company.
But outstanding people come to us every day.
People who want to make a contribution to a team and do work that really counts.
People eager to see new places, do the unusual, and find the unusual.
People who become your friends for life. People just like you.
We're not a company.
We're your country.
We're the Navy.
The Air Force.
The Marines.
The Army.
We're the Armed Forces.
It's a great place to start.
Little towns in Europe had their own way of knowing the holidays were near. It wasn't the decorations or the first magic snowfall. It was the appearance of special holiday laggers in every pub and beer hall. Today, that tradition lives in America at Coors. Introducing Winterfest, a lager so bold, so extravagant, we brew it only for the holidays. And when the new year comes, the Winterfest will be gone, but not the memories.
Celebrations in all of love's languages. Only a diamond says forever.
At the 87 Skins game, Lee Trevino aced the 17th. Did he A, make a hole-in-one, B, win a lot of money, C, dance the cha-cha with his caddy, or D, all of the above? If you pick D, then you know the Skins game is great golf and great fun. Thanksgiving weekend on NBC.
With Bob Trumpy, this is Don Criqui back at sold-out Rich Stadium. 80,000 look on as the Buffalo Bills, the only AFC team who haven't been to the playoffs since 1982. Try to close out a playoff spot today in the divisional championship as they go to the run. A 64-yard punt by Prokop of the Jets sets the Bills back, though, and it looked like they get good field position. Only scoring in this game. A second quarter field goal by Pat Leahy of the Jets, and one to tie the game in the third quarter by Scott Norwood of Buffalo.
On that run by Thurman Thomas up the middle. For the most part today, he's run the corner. His 13th carry for 89 yards on the day. They've been running him outside, that time inside. Now he's flanked, near side.
That's Thomas at the lower left-hand portion of your screen. As Kelly goes back to front, he goes to Jamie Mueller, and he's taken down by Benson. Troy Benson sheds the block, makes the hit, and that brings up third down and about 6 with the ball in position.
Now, this Jet defense has really played extraordinary football with the exception of that last drive for 3 points.
Kelly having trouble making completions now.
Last 4 incomplete. He's just 5 for 14 on the day, 56 yards. 4 straight incompletions.
Ronnie Harmon is often his man in situations like this. Harmon is the back 2 up from the bottom of the screen. Kelly takes a look, jumps it up the other way, and it's almost picked off. McMillan, who's already intercepted 8 as a rookie, almost had a ninth and a TD with it. But the Jets stop the Buffalo Bills offense, and the Bills have to punt it back.
That's 5 straight incompletions by Kelly. Again, good pressure. McMillan just waiting there. Oh, he almost got a hold of that. Carl Howard was coming on the blitz that time for the Jets. And the Jets stop him. They've had great coverage all day, Don.
Yes. Kelly missing his last 5 throws. John Kidd takes the snap. He hits it very well as the ball carries high. Donzell back from his 35, and again he has a problem running on the wet field, and he's cut down at the 39. Mark Pike was down to get him, number 94. The linebacker turned defensive end out of Georgia Tech for the Bills. So with 5:46 to play in the third quarter, it stands 3-3.
This year, the world's automakers will once again offer hordes of imitation BMWs. Meanwhile, for under $25,000, BMW offers something infinitely more valuable. The new BMW 325i. Why settle for a copy when you can own an original?
Life's full of simple pleasures, like the comfort of Levi's jeans. Or had you forgotten?
Somebody ordered a knish. Where are you? Get it out.
Service, please. At the 2nd Avenue Deli in Manhattan, they recently added something new to the menu.
Ask me on the bag.
The phone number of their Murata fax machine.
There's other bags. 2 pepper steaks, 1 hot.
The guys say that before they bought the Murata, things were pretty hectic behind the counter.
Just a second, darling. Don't you see I'm busy?
Murata fax machines.
Thanksgiving Day, the NFL plays here when the Oilers battle the Cowboys. Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL Live.
Strong defense on both sides has been the order of the day as the Jets and the Bills remain in a 3-3 third quarter tie here at Orchard Park, New York. For the Jets, November has been the cruelest month. They seem to come a cropper. A lot of times it's due to injuries in the offensive line. But after 2 straight losses and 4 defeats in their last 6 games, the Jets standing tall today. You saw Leonard Smith, the Bills' strong safety, who was ejected in the first quarter. Ryan throws hard. Off the hand of his intended receiver,
Wesley Walker.
And Walker did a great job getting a hand on it because it might have been picked off as Derek Burrows, who was hurt in the first quarter, is back in the game.
Yeah, Walker does a great job realizing that defensive back Derek Burrows is right behind him, just knocking the ball down. Now the Jets are in a tough spot. 2nd and 10. They've got good field position to start this drive, but now they're almost forced to throw the next 2 downs.
Wind picking up now, Trump. It's not going to be easy to throw or kick field goals the rest of this game as it continues. Out to the 40-yard line. Bentley on the stop with Cornelius Bennett. Roger Vick was the carrier. Jets under Joe Walton have always started well, but they seem to have continuing problems with injuries in their offensive line, and they've tried everything to rectify it. Shortening practices. They just can't find an answer. They've had makeshift lines. Cadigan, their #1 draft choice, who is really coming out at left tackle. He's been out for weeks now with an ankle injury. They've had to start a rookie, Criswell, free agent rookie. Banker's back after an absence of 4 weeks. He's blocked well in the running game, but he's had some problems trying to hold off Bruce Smith, who's all over the field. Coming on like an unguided missile. Throw and tip ball as the Bills break it up again. Truman McNeil out of the backfield was the intended receiver. Wayne Davis and Derek Burrows converged on the coverage. There they are.
You'd think between 4 hands there, one of them could catch it. I realize how tough it is, but, boy, that was right at him.
Pocock gets set to punt again. This time they rush him hard. A much shorter punt. And Flip Johnson receives the ball. He's not done yet. He's out to the 27-yard line. Flip Johnson in that first game against the Jets got himself a room service touchdown. Tipped ball and right in his hands was very nearly intercepted, and he went all the way to break the game open.
Taylor, California, taste that's right at home. Taste Taylor, California, always right, day or night. Taste that's right at home. Taste that's right at home. Taste Taylor, California. Taylor, California.
Taylor, California Cellars. The taste that's right at home.
This year, the world's automakers will once again offer hordes of imitation BMWs. Meanwhile, for under $25,000, BMW offers something infinitely more valuable. The new BMW 325i. Why settle for a copy when you can own an original?
Will your new car outlive your new car loan? Give your engine extra protection and help keep your car running like new longer with STP's new Supra Wear Control, so you'll have something to show for your investment down the road.
Attention all men with noses. Introducing Schick Slim Twin Disposable. It's 28% slimmer than Good News to give you a close shave even in hard-to-reach places. New Schick Slim Twin, preferred by men who have noses.
Next Sunday, the NFL plays here. The Bills' Jim Kelly goes eye-to-eye with the Bengals' Boomer Esiason in a shootout between the top two powerhouses of the AFC. Or it's a must-win game for two playoff hopefuls when the Browns head to the nation's capital to battle the Redskins. Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL Live.
During the timeout, Ted Cottrell, the defensive line coach, going over the game plan with Bruce Smith and some of his other linemen. Now the Bills' offense is on the field. Game time, 3-3. 4:36 to play, third quarter. Thurman Thomas on the run, but the Jets are there to run him down as Hasty comes up from the right corner.
Now the Jets have gone to a four-man defensive line, figuring that the Buffalo Bills are going to continue running the football. Now all of a sudden the Buffalo Bills are going to have to come up with some different blocking schemes. Well, now the fourth defensive lineman goes out.
Wind is really kicked up now. Game plan has to change in this. Be tough to throw, and Kelly's going into the teeth of the wind. In the fourth quarter, the Bills will have it at their back. Could be decided on a long field goal. Here's Metzlars, the tight end. Nobody covered him. And Pete Metzlars at 6'7", 235 pounds. Who was a Division III All-American 2 years in two sports, basketball and football, at Wabash College in Indiana.
That's an 18-yard pickup. You're right, Don. He was totally uncovered. Kelly's not even looked at the tight end so far today. That's 98 bullet. Just get across the line of scrimmage, and it's almost like a pop pass. 18-yard pickup. That flag way above this stadium, but you're right, down in the fourth quarter, it's going to be a factor.
The Hawks sweeping in from Canada into Western New York late in November. Bills with a first down in this tie game. Thurman Thomas, a dancer, inside and out, and he's ahead across midfield to the 49-yard line of the Jets. Gain of 6 yards on the play.
Thomas approaching 100 yards. We've got a player down. It's Jamie Mueller, I believe. The fullback who is the lead blocker.
As you say, Trump, $1,000 for a breath of air. I think he's just winded.
Monday on Alf, Willie is Mr. Mom.
How come there's weeds in this salad? It's radicchio. You cooking is radicchio.
And Kate's cooking up a surprise of her own.
I'm gonna have a baby.
And when the Hogans become chimney sweeps, their unusual style lands them on the news.
What's he doing up there? And why isn't he wearing any pants?
Then Rue McClanahan has 4 daughters.
You're all getting married.
And she'll do anything.
We're looking for single men.
To hear him say, I do. Take my daughters, please. It's a great night, Monday.
O'Brien being rushed. O'Brien throwing over the middle. Wesley Walker, touchdown! I've been in the Thurman Thomas, and right there, Thomas rolls up. Jamie Mueller's ankle goes off on the sideline with a twisted ankle. He's up walking around. Now he's sitting on the bench trying to collect his thoughts. Let's see how he's walking there. A little tough,
Well, he wasn't winded. He was actually got the bad ankle there.
So Byram's in the ball game now for the Bills.
Riddick takes it ahead on a 2nd down and 4 play, and Rob Riddick, a quick hitter, gets ahead for 6 and a first down as he's down to the 42-yard line of the Jets.
The amazing thing about this offense of the Bills is they take Mueller out. Byram comes in and do a great job. They take Thurman Thomas out. Riddick comes in like he's played every down. They also do the same thing with Ronnie Harmon. Here's Mueller trying to walk off that sprained ankle from Benedictine College. He wants to get back in there.
Levy says of Riddick, he makes great decisions on the move. If there's a crack to go through, he'll find it. And there's Riddick again, busting it down to the 35-yard line. First down carry, good for 7. It'll be 2nd and 3. Alex Gordon was on the stop for the Jets.
To this point, the Jets have played very respectable defense. I do believe that the Buffalo Bills offensive line is better than the Jets defensive line. And they've made it tough on the Bills running this ball. But a pretty high caliber football game for the inclement weather.
One of the hallmarks, Trump, of this rising Bills team is an ability to come from behind. They've done it a lot this season as Riddick breaks it again. Rob Riddick inside the 25-yard line. A 2nd down and 3 run is good for a first down carry as the clock is down to 1:12 to play. 3rd quarter, a 12-yard gain.
Well, just as soon as I say that the defensive front of the Jets have done a pretty good job, Riddick scoots right up through there. Eric McMillan, 22, finally makes the tackle after a 12-yard pickup. But this is now perfect weather and a perfect situation for what Buffalo does best. We got Thurman Thomas that goes to 100, and Riddick now at 70 yards rushing.
Back to Riddick all day long. Rob Riddick keeps hammering away. One game earlier this year, some feel it was the turning point in the Bills' season. They were down to Indianapolis in this stadium 17-0, and then blew out the Colts the rest of the way, outscoring them 34-6 to win the game easily.
I think the Bills are going to sit here, wait for the 4th quarter to start. Yeah, Jim Kelly going to the sideline. Score tied 3-3. Actually, this is the worst thing that could happen for the Bills at the quarter end, because you're going to stand for a few minutes and you may cool off a little bit.
You can cool off a lot with that wind blowing. It's the end of the 3rd quarter. The Jets 3 and the Buffalo Bills 3. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
It was a tragic end to an era of optimism and hope. Tom Brokaw takes you back to Kennedy's America and that day in November, Tuesday night on NBC.
Your good neighbor Chevy dealers payload payout is Chevynomics in action. Forget about the old-fashioned Ford and save up to $2,200 on a full-size Chevy. Well, check out this S-Blazer 4x4 or this S10 pickup, and you can save up to $2,400 on either one. With a huge selection and tremendous savings, you'll never get more truck for less money. Right now during Chevy's payload payout at your good neighbor Chevy dealer. You'll never get more truck for less money.
There was a time when the outside of a car changed a lot faster than the inside. But today, the inside is changing a lot faster than the outside. To increase performance, engines are being redesigned, which is why Champion has redesigned the spark plug. No other spark plug has better resistance to fouling or runs cooler. The high-output technology spark plug by Champion, because the inside of a car is changing a lot faster than the outside.
97 Rock is back.
Talk about great concerts. 97 Rock did them all. How about when Tallis was at the old Stage 1 and the opener was this band called U2? I even remember when Snort and Norton set the all-time record for being on the air for a month straight. Yeah, now I got my own business, family, and I got 97 Rock again. Even Snort and Norton's back. 97 Rock is back and rocking. You don't think you'd try to break that old record, do you? Nah.
Donate a new toy, make our Christmas wish come true. For kids' sake.
We're set now for the start of the fourth quarter. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. The Bills driving in a 7-point lead with this Buffalo defense can be a big one. Still, we're tied at 3-3, and the Bills have not taken it into the end zone yet. It looks like Mueller, Trump, is ready to go back into war.
Well, at least he's up and walking around a little bit, so that'll help. But Byram and Riddick are the running backs in the game.
Second down and 4. Between them, Riddick and Thomas, there's 165 yards gain. It's another Bills first down as the Jets are unable to stem the onslaught. Bills firing off the ball. Benson made the tackle. Mercereau getting knocked off the play. Richer was an Outland Trophy winner at left guard out of North Carolina State. Right guard Vogler, 285 pounds. Hull's 275. The tackles are close to 300.
See, the time of possession is now swung in favor of the Bills. And the rushing yards, that's the story in the game. Now Thomas is in the ball game. I'd look for him to run wide. He doesn't really run straight ahead much. Right behind Byron. Coming this way, Don. Sweep this way. Here it is.
The D as the Jets read it all the way. Coming across was Kevin MacArthur and Robin Cole. Radachowski also on the play.
Now, Don, I do believe the Buffalo Bills kind of give away their offense on some downs when they run that lead back in motion. And it appears about 8 times out of 10 that that's the way they're going to run. And you can see the Jets flow and flow heavily right to that.
Marv Levy has 2 axioms on winning football. 1, if you run it 30 times in a game, you'll rarely lose. And 2, you have to be overall and season-long plus big time on the giveaway takeaway ratio. The Bills have run it 35 times already today, but they're not in the lead yet. But as you pointed out, Trump, they've taken over control of the ball on the clock. And here is Byron running. Second and short. Second and 11. He busts it down close to the 10-yard line.
Now the Bills got to be very cautious here. They can't get crazy. 3 points is enough to probably...
You never want to do that.
No. 3 points is probably good enough to put this game away with the bad weather and the inability of the Jets to run the ball. So you don't want to throw the ball up here for a turnover. The only turnover of the day, the interception thrown by Jim Kelly. They got their spread formation. I'd give it to Rob Riddick.
They just might. Third down and 7 for the Bills. All-out blitz, and they go to Riddick. Blockers in front. Riddick inside the 10, but the Jets catch him and knock him down well short of the first down. So the Jets sent all 11, shooting into all the gaps, going either the quarterback if he threw or the runner if he came up. And they make the knockdown. Lyons and Mercereau first to make the hits. And the field goal unit's out for the Bills as they look to take the lead for the first time.
That's a smart call, though. You don't want to give the ball up down here. Riddick is normally very sure-handed with that football. Actually, I think if he stays outside, Vogler 65 was a lead blocker for him. When Riddick cut back, he really got caught up in the wash.
The hole at the 16, a 26-yarder. Might kick this out of the arena. Big wind behind him. Up and good. And the Bills take the lead in the fourth quarter, 6-3. Norwood hits it. Field goals have been all the scoring we've had. 2 for the Bills, 1 for the Jets.
In Japan, 60 automotive journalists named the 1989 Mitsubishi Galant Car of the Year. Now, the Americans report.
A refined, impressively built sports sedan. Everything about the Galant GS works well.
Galant will blow away the higher-priced competition.
Pure heaven to drive.
Perhaps Car and Driver sums up the Galant best when it writes, "Watch out, Honda."
Looking for that perfect camcorder? Exactly. The Zenith.
Zenith.
Yeah. Uses a full-size VHS cassette that has the latest professional features, and it's fully automatic.
Great.
Or, if you want something smaller,
Yeah?
the Zenith.
Zenith.
Compact VHS, autofocus, really easy to use, and it's surprisingly affordable.
So it's the Zenith.
Or the Zenith.
I think I'm leaning toward the Zenith. Good choice.
Once you hear it, you gotta get near it. There's a whole lot of nothing going on. You want a snack? Gotta get that pack. There's a whole lot of nothing going on.
Incredibly delicious and so full of energy, Planters nuts are one irresistible snack.
Once you hear it, you gotta get near it. There's a whole lot of nothing going on.
Today's game is brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By Mitsubishi Motors, who invites you to come see the full line of cars and trucks. Mitsubishi, suddenly the obvious choice. And by Planters, there's a whole lot of nuttin' going on. Planters.
Ken O'Brien trying to warm up Pat Ryan there on the sideline. Good friends, very good friends. There's no hard feelings with Pat Ryan named as the starter today.
But Ryan will be thrown into the wind when he does throw. As here's the Bills kickoff. They now lead at 6-3 to the Buffalo Bills as Townsend looks for a gap, finds a little one, then he's cut down quickly. Galaradisek, another of the Penn State linebackers. Marv Levy, the Buffalo coach, said at one point, you can't be too thin, too rich, or have too many Penn State linebackers.
Look at that time of possession, 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Except for the one completion, the Metzelars all running again. Second half, that's the choice of the Buffalo Bills. Ram it right at the Jets, and it's worked. For 6 points only, but enough for the lead.
And as the temperature starts to drop, this Buffalo Bills defense has heated up in the second half. Rated #1 in the NFL and going after Pat Ryan. Here comes Smith. He gets it away and Toon makes the catch, and look at that stick. Shane Conley. Toon is up. That's good to see. That'll make the highlight reel.
So is Pat Ryan. Bruce Smith was right in his chest. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Watch the field. That was a big play. Toon made a nice catch. At the end of this play, Bruce Smith is right in Pat Ryan's chest. There you see him knock him down, and then Shane Conlon just waiting for Toon to come across there. Ends up being about a 6-yard pickup.
Guy is a football player. Shane Conlon, the man Paterno called the best linebacker he's ever had at Penn State. No marker that I can see, and now the play downfield goes for good yardage as on 2nd and 6, Hector takes it ahead for a Jet first down. White Drain knocked him down. Cincinnati looking to go to 9-3 and heading into a meeting with Buffalo next Sunday on NBC Sports. Houston up on Phoenix, a big win for the Oilers, doing it in the House of Pain, the Astrodome. Cleveland embarrassed by their performance last week at Denver, playing well against the Steelers. Bears 10-2 with a win today. Kansas City, they've turned that around there.
That's unbelievable.
They can beat anybody right now. And they've been doing it. Cincinnati last week, Seattle this week. Pitch back. Freeman McNeil's in the open field and finally cut down at the 48-yard line.
Oh, Don,
first down carry.
The thing you got to say about this Jet football team is they do not give up. They absolutely do not quit. There's the defensive front. That's Bud Carson down there with the hat on. He's talking to all the defense because the Bills have been able to just run the ball almost at will. That last pickup by McNeil, 9 yards. These guys are concentrating on one thing. Joe Walton concentrating on another.
There's 13 to play.
Don, first down yardage in these situations is absolutely the key.
2nd and short on this play. That is a big first down pick. Now the 2nd down carry. Good for first down.
But when you get that first down opportunity, you got to get the 4, 5, and 6 yards. So you're not put in a situation where you got to throw it. That Leahy on the sideline. Waiting for his opportunity to tie the score.
9:43 to play.
Now watch this first down yardage. This is the key play in drives like this.
McNeil aligned with Vick. Play fake and a throw.
Walker.
Open man. Reception made by Wesley Walker at the 30-yard line. It would be a 47-yard attempt from here, so they want to get it much closer and have 4 new downs to do it.
That's a 20-yard completion in front of Sherman Cocroft, number 20. Of course, once again, the injuries and the ejection of the Buffalo Bills defensive backs really hurt. That time, good pass protection. Walker runs an outstanding pattern. You see the cushion that Cocroft gives him. Big completion. I think they're going to review this play, Don.
Actually, that was Wesley's second reception. He had one earlier, but he had been shut out the previous 3 games.
It looks like they're reviewing that catch to see if, in fact, he got both feet down.
Had a very valuable reception earlier. It was on that play that Leonard Smith threw him out of bounds and was thrown out of the game.
All right, it's been reviewed, and the play will stand. You got to have 2 feet down. This ball kind of sails a little bit on Pat Ryan, and you can see Walker waiting on it. 1, 2.
Please return the 30-second clock to 23 seconds.
Okay, it's fine. Play reviewed. That's a good catch.
Cold, wet day, and another sellout crowd in Buffalo. A team that every time that they have something to cheer about leads the league in attendance. Back in 80 and 81 when they had good teams under Chuck Knox, 80,000 a game. That's been the story this year. The minor league baseball team in Buffalo has set an all-time record and outgrew many major league teams.
Roll out.
Toon is there. And a split from the ball at the 10-yard line.
Art Still caught up with Pat Ryan. Darryl Talley was there also for contact, and Ryan really couldn't set himself to get at the Toon, but Toon was open. Dwight Drain was the man in coverage. Nice little roll out there by Pat Ryan. There's Art Still, Darryl Talley. Can't really look at Cornelius Bennett go up there for the jump ball. Toon goes up for it too. Drain knocks it away. Big play, Buffalo defense.
Second down and 10 coming up for the Jets, who need a field goal to tie it. It's a long field goal at this end of the field. Well, the wind has died down somewhat now. McNeil inside the 25, and he's down to the 24-yard line. A second down and 10 carry, and he's got about 5. Shane Conlon on yet another tackle for the Bills.
Leahy warming up on the sideline. Shane Conlon coming out. What's wrong with him?
Something with his knee.
Or his ankle, or his shin, or his foot. Scott Radisek is in the ball game. He's laying on the sideline and warming up. Certainly within his range now, Don. Jets just got to hang on to it.
Third down and 3 for the Jets, who trail by 3 points in the 4th quarter. Ryan swings it out, and Hector loses the ball.
Bennett and Radisek right out there with Johnny Hector.
Johnny Hector could not make the play on the swing pass. Cornelius Bennett and the Bills defense now lines up, and they'll be coming hard as Ryan's the holder and Pat Leahy is the field goal attempter. He's 15 for 19 today, including for the year 15 for 19, 1 for 1 today.
Wind should not be a factor, Don.
I don't know. Leahy drills it up and good. And the Jets come back to tie the game with 8:24 to play. It is now a 6-6 game. 8:24 to play in regulation. This conceivably could be OT.
I don't know. What are you going to do? I don't know. I'd go to college.
Me too.
If I had the money.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? I don't know. What are you gonna do? You don't want those fries.
What are you going to do, Jack? Eat your way to college?
Hey, really? I'm going to college on the new GI Bill. You serve full-time in the armed forces or part-time in the reserves, and you earn a lot of money for tuition.
The GI Bill.
Are you using that pickle?
For young men and women in the armed forces, it's a great place to start. See a local military recruiter.
In 1859, Isaac Cook created a great American champagne to launch the great American clipper ships. Today, Americans are still launching celebrations with Cook's Imperial American Champagne. When your ship comes in, celebrate with Cook's Imperial American Champagne.
Suddenly, there's a whole new development in sports sedans so superior it was voted Japan's Car of the Year. Introducing the 1989 Galant from Mitsubishi. Suddenly, the obvious choice.
First, Gillette made shaving closer, then made it smoother. With Atra Plus, its Luber Smooth strip glides the razor over your face for Gillette's smoothest shave. The Atra Plus system. First, we made it closer, then we made it smoother.
Jack Nicklaus, Curtis Strange, Ray Floyd, and Lee Trevino. Golf's fabulous foursome play the skins game. Thanksgiving weekend on NBC.
Cat Leahy left is 2 for 2 on field goal attempts for all 6 Bill Jet points. To the right, Scott Norwood. It's 2 for 3. He has all the Buffalo points, but you'll recall that miss that's caromed off the crossbar at the close of the second quarter. Now the Bills will try to drive it down in position, but they won't do that. As the ball is picked up by Flip Johnson, and he gets ahead to the 21-yard line. The scoreboard changing as we go back to the 10-minute ticker. Cincinnati now up 31-10 on Dallas. Houston blowing out the Cardinals. And Cleveland with the commanding lead over the Steelers. Bears winning easily at Tampa Bay. Minnesota up on Indianapolis.
Now a key here for Buffalo is Jamie Mueller back in the ballgame. Can he play? Well, Byram is back in there, so apparently Jamie Mueller's ankle is really bothering him.
First down and 10. Those have gotten a number of people nicked today. Here's Riddick, who's run so well, but that time the Jets were keying on him. Marty Lyons was there to make the play along with Troy Benson. The Bills, if they do win the home field advantage, are in very good position to go the distance. They'll be very tough to beat if they have 2 games here in Orchard Park. And then if they go to the Super Bowl, they'll be playing under the lights at Joe Robbie Stadium. For last Monday night under the lights at Joe Robbie Stadium, they may have played their best game of the year against wiping out the Dolphins. They look forward to going back there.
And of course, the Jets still alive in the playoff hunt beginning today. There are 11 of 14 teams in the AFC still with an opportunity to be in the playoffs.
Second down and 9 coming up for the Bills. Billy looks, drills it. Tight end Metzlars is ahead, well short of a first down. He got about 3 or 4 on the play.
Metzlars made 2 big catches. You want to know who's eliminated? The list is short in the AFC. That's it. Those guys are in the running for the Troy Aikman Bowl.
Right. Odds makers in Nevada rate San Diego the favorite to get Aikman. Green Bay and Pittsburgh are right in there. Dallas, well, actually it was Dallas, Green Bay, and San Diego with it.
Tampa Bay, Curtis Bryson.
Kelly on 3rd down and 3. Nobody there. Kelly tries to take off, and there's nothing there, and the Bills will have to give it back to the Jets with 6.5 minutes to play. So it's 3 downs and out. The Jet defense again standing up to the Bill offense.
Second sack of the day for the New York Jets, and again, great coverage down the field. Look, Kelly's looking left. He looks over to the right. He looks down the middle. He's trying to motion people, and Marty Lyons makes the sack.
John Kidd back at his 8-yard line. Very big series coming up for the Jet offense and the Bill defense. As Kidd hits the ball, not that long. Up back, Son will take it. And he'll cross midfield on the return when he gets right to midfield. And then a marker comes in. Radisek makes the strike.
That looks like it's going to be against the Jets, and it's going to cost them great field position here.
Dick Hantek, the referee. Punt Trump was just 30 yards.
Illegal block by the Jets. That'll cost them 10 yards.
We're going to get to it.
Illegal block on the return, number 38. Penalized 10 yards. It will be first down. There is no flag on Buffalo. It was a pickup.
And Michael Zordich, the ex-Penn Stater, was called for the illegal block. Certainly Coach Levy spotted it.
It's a jungle out there. You can survive with the new four-door Mitsubishi Montero. Its V6-powered tames snarling beasts. It takes you away to a more civilized world. The new four-door Montero, suddenly the obvious choice.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
This Christmas, I gave the grandkids Radio Shack radio-controlled cars. Bobby's Golden Arrow has racing suspension and speed to burn up the track. Kim's Turbo Wing Buggy has big tires and a crash-absorbing front bumper. And little Teddy revs up his Turbo Lamborghini.
Grandpa, there's dirt on my wheels.
Mine too. Old Santa must have taken him out for a little test drive.
Remote radio-controlled toys from $9.95 to $119.95, only at Radio Shack.
You know, there are a lot of places where you can look for an auto part. But here's where you'll find it. Napa has parts for imports and other hard-to-find parts. So come to Napa first. We've got your part.
Americans buy lots of imported cars. Isn't it nice to know that Napa has the parts right here when you need them? Don't miss the boat on parts for imports. Come to Napa.
Suddenly, there's a whole new development in sports sedans so superior it was voted Japan's Car of the Year. Introducing the 1989 Galant from Mitsubishi. Suddenly, the obvious choice.
The promotional fee has been paid to NBC by United Airlines, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies.
You'll see the clip. Mike Zordich pushes right in the back, just as Kurtz on his tackle, and then Joe Walton, he gets a lick on Mike Zordich. Cost him 10 yards. Right now you want field position.
Big set of downs, and Ryan's going to put it up on first down. Lets it fly. Freeman McNeil's open, and the interception is blown. It was right into the hands of Sherman Cocroft, who lost it out of that Kansas City connection. A lot of KC people here at Buffalo. Marv Levy's a former head coach of the KC Chiefs. Cocroft is in from the Chiefs. When Marv Levy was the head coach there, his head scout was Bill Polian, who's now odds on to be executive of the year in pro football. He's the guy that made all those player deals. General manager of the Bills.
You know, Don, I don't see Mark Kelso in the lineup. We got two defensive backs who are not normally playing out there. Cocroft is one, Dwayne Drain is the other.
Johnny Hector finding a way on second down and 10 to get some yards as he's out to the 43-yard line.
That's Dwight Drain on the tackle. Kelso went off earlier. Looked like he got dinged in the head. So you got Drain playing one safety, Cocroft the other.
Game clock shows 5:40 to play. Jets 6, Bills 6.
What a play here. 5:35, as you said. What a play here.
Third down and 5 for the Jets. There comes Smith. Incomplete.
There's also a flag on the offense, Don. Bruce Smith. Now, the official on the sideline couldn't get his flag out, apparently because it was wet and stuck in his pocket. But nevertheless, they'll decline the penalty.
Illegal motion, offense, penalty is declined, 4th down.
So now the Bills will get it back as their punt returner, Flip Johnson, is way back, and here's the rush. Smith really unloads on Ryan just as he released the errant pass. Pocock punting into it. Actually, the wind's pretty much died down now. He hits it well, a high knuckle ball. And Flip Johnson elects not to go for it. He'll let it roll, and the Jets will down it at about the 11-yard line. So the Bills in this tie game have the long field to go to get in field goal range.
That's a 45-yard punt. That young man right there, if the Jets win this football game, has been their most valuable player. That 64-yarder he had in the third quarter. He's really kept the Buffalo Bills offense in a long field situation. They face it again. 1st and 89. 4:59 and counting on the clock.
One area the Jets have excelled in, they picked up 20
Ineligible
passes.
receiver on the kicking team, number 81, downfield early. 5-yard penalty.
To kick it again.
Repeat the down, 4th down.
Where are these flags?
Really, the guy was downfield early. Now Billy Griggs, tight end on the kick coverage team, left early, and so instead of that good 45-yard punt that pinned the Bills back at their 11, Pocock has to hit it again. So we'll see what the swing and yardage is the next field position.
He has been huge today. Look at that. 47.3, his longest, 64 yards, a personal best. And I think if I'm Marv Levy here, I tell Flip Johnson, try to catch the ball. Play a little shorter and make sure you catch the ball so it doesn't roll.
Coach Levy with a vocabulary that exceeds a lot of football talk. Master's degree from Harvard after one loss this year. He said he was chagrined by it. But he can heat up like every coach, and he has the good chemistry with his players. They like him and they play hard for him. And result, 10-1 coming into this one. Here is Flip Johnson. He'll run it back. He's across the 35 to the 40. And so there's almost a 30-yard swing on the yardage exchange. Instead of at the 11, they get it at the 40.
And I'll tell you why that punt wasn't as long. The center snapped it to his left. It was only 31 yards, and Prokop had to step to his left to catch that punt, and it really took him out of sync. See, he moves to his left. He's a left-footed punter, but, I mean, it takes him out of sync. Ball's on top of the Buffalo Bills, so there's no running into the punter. And the Bills now in much better field position. Huge play.
Kelly, play fake, throws it. Metzler's on the run, the big tight end over midfield. He's not done till he's inside the 30 and down to the 25-yard line. So Kelly with an excellent play fake, throws the defense and then swung it out to Metzler, who he hasn't gone to often, but it's been very productive when he has. That was good for 35 yards.
How big is that penalty now on Billy Griggs? 35-yard catch. It's a half roll by Jim Kelly. He's lumbering down the field, but he gets there. Hasty makes the tackle. Well, without that penalty, the Bills are back at their own 10-yard line.
Right, that was huge. 1 5-yard penalty for being downfield early. They had to kick it over. And not much there for Thurman Thomas. There's a free ball on the field, and the Jets have it. That plays live. The Jets have it.
They got it.
They have it. So the Jets stop the Bills.
Second turnover of the day. Mercereau comes up with the football. Again, though, subject to review. Anytime there's a turnover now in the NFL, in case it's absolutely obvious, they're going to review it. Oh, that's loose. It's loose. There's no question about that whatsoever. Looks like those gloves he had on are getting a little thick, a little slick. Mercereau makes the recovery. The play will stand. Jets ball.
You remember at the close of the first half, a penalty against the Bills set them back another 5 yards. And this field goal attempt by Scott Norwood is on the way, right on top of it, but just short as it hit the crossbar and carried him back. Without the penalty, it would have been very good.
That was a penalty on Ballard. Howard Ballard, the offensive tackle. There's the guy that had the penalty on. They'd be leading 9-6 now.
By the same token, if Griggs hadn't jumped downfield early on the punt, the Bills would have had to start from their 11 rather than their 40.
There had been some big penalties.
Play stands as called. It's the Jets' ball. Griggs in the lineup on offense. But this Bill defense has absolutely stifled the Jets of late. Just overwhelming them. The huge rush teed up and ready to come again on 1st and 10. Raymond McNeil. Free ball. Buffalo. No free. Jets have it. And very close to a first down. Ray Bentley came in and made the stick that popped the ball free. And Billy Griggs, after a Bill had his hands on it, recovered it for the Jets.
Well, that makes up for the penalty.
So instead of a turnover inside their 40-yard line, the Jets instead get a 9-yard gain. Game tied as you see the game clock winding down. 6-6. 2 field goals each side.
Penalty was on Griggs. Somebody hits him from behind. I can't really tell who it is. It looks like Dwight Drain has the first shot at it. Oh, it's Darryl Talley, 56, who makes the initial hit. But Billy Griggs comes up with a recovery.
Second and short. Johnny Hector. And he has a Jet first down out to the 43-yard line. Ray Bentley and Cornelius Bennett on a stop for the Bills.
Buffalo has had injuries all over the place. Now I noticed that Shane Conlon is not in there. Scott Radisick is in there. So they're missing Derek Burrows. They're missing Kelso. They're missing Leonard Thompson. They're missing Kelso. Leonard Smith. I'll get it. They're missing Kelso. They're missing Shane Conlon.
Right, the 2 starting safeties out. 1 injured, 1 ejected. Shane Conlon, who had a tremendous game. He's out. Came off with a limp. There's a throw downfield, and Al Toon comes down with the ball on a first down play. He has it at midfield for a gain of almost 8 yards. And the game will wind down to the 2-minute warning as Pat Leahy takes a deep breath. It could be his right foot that could end this one.
It's a jungle out there. You can survive with the new 4-door Mitsubishi Montero. Its V6-powered tames snarling beasts. It takes you away to a more civilized world. The new 4-door Montero. Suddenly the obvious choice.
There are headaches.
And the car payment is overdue.
And headaches. There's aspirin and aspirin. Anacin. Clinical tests show that Anacin relieves headaches better than regular aspirin.
Feeling better, hun?
Not just better, better. Anacin. Better relief.
Oh, Harold, it's lovely.
I hope you liked it.
It reminds me of when we first got electric light back when I was a child. Oh. Daddy used to draw his chair up to that light and read to us. Oh, and memories. But Harold, this is the 80s. And I wanted a Bud Light.
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Kill the light, will you, Harold?
Oh, because everything else is just a light.
That last reception by Al Toon, a very tough catch. 29 Derek Burrows in coverage. Watch Burrows' hand go up there. Toon with great concentration on the ball. Makes the catch for an 8-yard pickup. Jets drive stays alive.
So All-Pro Al Toon makes a big play for the Jets with 2 minutes to go. 6-6 game.
stadium. They are still in their seats, and all this rain and cold weather, nobody's leaving.
Now, in Buffalo, they think this could be at long last their championship season.
Those yellow things out there, they're not empty seats. They're yellow rain slickers.
Pat Leahy, he might be around as long as Blandon. His 15th year and doing better than ever. Getting set for another very big attempt, perhaps. Second down and 2, a long 2, and look at that play by Brett Smerlis, who shot the gap and hit Ryan back at his 45-yard line.
Nobody touched him. What happened to Sweeney to the center there? In case you're wondering, the clock stops on a sack inside 2 minutes until the ball is reset.
And now it's 3rd and 7. Ryan stands in. Here's a throw and a catch. Al Toon looking to run, and he gets the first down. Toon was caught, was hemmed in. They had him short of the first down, and then with that burst of speed, that big stride, Al Toon gets a first down for the Jets at the 46-yard line of the Bills.
And the Jets take a timeout, too. Leahy about to warm up.
Remember when you were a kid, growing up proud that the legend of Davy Crockett lived with you always? Now, NBC introduces a new generation to a new Davy Crockett.
Soldier is much more demanding on a man they let on, huh?
The legend lives again in a special 2-hour movie, The Return of Davy Crockett, tonight. Then, her world is a world of passion. No man can resist her. She's Vanna White as Venus in the world premiere of The Goddess of Love, tonight.
Watch this play by Fred Smerlis. Jumps right around the center and grabs Ryan before anything could happen. Nobody touched Fred Smerlis. It looked like Bruce Smith being on the nose tackle kind of messed up the blocking scheme. And then the catch by Toon. He makes the catch. 55 Bennett. Tally 56 slips down. But enough to get the first down and keep the drive alive.
Enormous effort by Al Toon and 4 new downs for the Jets looking to get in field goal range. 1:41 to play. 6:16. Rain to stop. Wind doesn't seem to be as heavy as Ryan gets time. Incomplete at the 24-yard line. He was looking for Hector out of the backfield. Ray Bentley, a linebacker, inside backer with a deep drop, was right with the intended receivers. Blaze hit some long ones, a lot of them.
I think I heard earlier he's 47 of 49 from inside 40-yard line.
47 of the last 49 inside the 40. .135 left to play, as you see. Second down and 10 coming up. Ryan stands in. There's an open man, Freeman McNeil. He puts moves on tacklers and gets ahead, and the Jets have another first down as Freeman McNeil takes the ball down to the 32-yard line of the Bills. 1:18 to go.
Darryl Talley finally makes the tackle. Jets in no hurry now.
They want more, and they want it deep as they go over the middle. Freeman McNeil again in front of the zone. McNeil finally knocked down at the 29-yard line on a first down play. That pass play was good for 3.
Jets have 2 timeouts left, and there's 56 seconds left in this game. There's the 2 coaches. Now they're got to take inventory in these situations, and on offense, you want to make sure you don't turn the ball over. You'll take an incomplete pass. Marv Levy saying, look, we got to come with a pass rush. We got to try to disrupt what's going on here. What a struggle this has been for both these teams all day. Jets have not quit. Playing a 10-1 team here in Buffalo. Best record in the NFL, playing at home. They are to be admired.
They really are. Just when everybody's about to write them off, and it's happened time and again this season, the Jets keep playing hard and make something big happen. They've lost their last 2 games, 4 of their last 6. And they could be very close to getting a winning field goal try. Second down and 6 comes up now. At the 29. From here, it would be a 46-yard attempt. Hector running and still trying and getting down to the 25-yard line. From here, it would be a 42-yard attempt. Fourth quarter clock down to 40 seconds to play as the Jets go into alignment without a huddle. Freeman McNeil. And this will be it as Freeman McNeil on a 3rd down and 3 carry is short of the first down. 4th down comes up and the Jets will let it run down depending on what the Bills do with a timeout call. Buffalo has called a timeout. Indianapolis now goes to 6 and 7.
6 and 6.
6 and 6.
They could still be in the hunt if the Jets win.
6-5 and 1. There's not a whole lot going on in the AFC West. Seattle lost today. They go a game under 500. I guess they go to 500. They too go to 6 and 6. Seattle.
One thing about Pat Leahy, you can't freeze him out. 15 years of experience. He's been on fields like this, dry fields, indoors, everywhere, kicking field goals.
"15 years. This will be a 40-yard attempt. Bills setting up with speed. There's the kick. It's blocked by Buffalo. Free football. Picked up by Odoms, and he's out of bounds with 19 seconds to play. So the Bills, who've made big special teams play, get a huge one here.
God, it looks like pressure right up the middle. No, it's Cornelius.
Big Freddie Smerlas.
It's Smerlas, and Bennett comes in from the side. Nate Odoms picks up the football. The Bills have now avoided defeat in regulation. Now let's see if they can come up with victory in regulation. Or do you take your chances? Yeah, Freddie Smerlas with the block. I think if I'm Marv Levy, I take my chances with overtime.
Knowing Jim Kelly, though, Trump, he's going to air it out. They could let the long ball go.
Don, I don't think Ted Marchibroda will let him do that.
Really?
I really don't. Marchibroda is a very, very conservative offensive coordinator.
Kelly wants to be sure. He's calling a timeout. Seconds to play, so Leahy got his chance, but Fred Smerlas got his hand on it. The big eagle from Boston College, the easy rider who likes to make round trips on his motorcycle, 450 miles from his home in the offseason in Waltham, Mass, to Buffalo. 290-pound easy rider.
We know one thing for sure, that's a big motorcycle he rides. We are not talking one of those minis, we're talking a maxi. These folks are hoping for a celebration today.
Temperature has dropped.
Yeah, a win here today, and there'll be a football game in Rich Stadium either December 31st or January 1.
I think they got to try. Go deep. If you lose the flip, you might never get a chance to win the game in overtime.
Well, it looks like they got the Hail Mary formation here. 3 wide receivers.
Kelly, strong of arm, lets it go downfield. There's a man open.
Reed.
Off Andre Reed's hands at the 6-yard line.
That ball was catchable. How did he get by the defense?
It must come down, though, on a day like this, weighing about 10 pounds, doesn't it?
Well, the officials do a pretty good job of keeping it dry, but he got behind the defense. Look at that.
Man. 11 seconds left. They can try it again. You have to go deep. You lose the coin flip. That's to be decided yet unless the Bills make something happen in the final 11 seconds.
one timeout left. 35 yards, and they got a field goal attempt here.
Jim Kelly, he's got open field to run on, and Kelly will slide to a halt. A trick play, that's not going to work because the clock has run out. I'll tell you, if he wasn't aware of it, but a player in possession of the ball can call timeout at any time. He conceivably could have called a timeout and stopped the clock, but it still would have been about a 60-yard field goal, and the Jet is down. And so, on an exciting day, we're not done yet. Alex Gordon is down, one of the Jets' fine linebackers, having his left leg looked at. A lot of injured troops in this battle. Now we'll listen to the coin toss. And never is it bigger than as they go into overtime.
We'll find out who the luckiest Jet is. Who the Jets think their lucky guy is.
As the visitors, you have the choice. Go ahead. The call. That's a head. That's a tail. In the air. Heads. It is a heads.
That's Ken O'Brien that made the call.
So he made a big contribution. The Jets win the toss. Ken O'Brien goes out, calls heads, and heads it is. And so the Bills will kick it off to start overtime. We'll be back in a moment, but first this word from your local station.
It was a tragic end to an era of optimism and hope. Tom Brokaw takes you back to Kennedy's America and that day in November, Tuesday night on NBC.
Melton's the factory, Melton's the store. Lee jeans for less. Lee Glacier Wash for men, $26.99. Shop and save at Melton.
You know, there's just no substitute for a well-polished trade.
Indeed. Roy, how nice to see you.
Oh.
You shouldn't have.
Do sit down.
May I offer you a cup of tea?
Why, thank you, Wendell. Listen, I do love what you've done with this place.
Yes, this fabric would look lovely in my caboose.
I must remember to pick some up.
Finger sandwiches, gentlemen?
If it's out there, it's in here. The 9X Yellow Pages. Why would anyone need another?
This should give you some idea of the difference between beer and Genesee Cream Ale. Smooth Genesee Cream Ale. It's not the same old brewski.
This is WGRZ TV2 Buffalo.
This is Don Quickie with Bob Trumpy back at Rich Stadium, Orchard Park, New York, where after 4 quarters of play, the Jets and the Bills are still at a standoff. 6-6. The Jets have won the toss as we go to overtime, and Scott Norwood is ready now to kick off. Bobby Humphrey and JoJo Townsell are back deep. The rain has stopped. Temperatures dropped somewhat into the 30s. Winds seem to have died down. Flags are down. It's gusting at times, though. So the Bills, who if they should win this game today, would be divisional champions. Boot it downfield. A one-hopper is picked up by Townsell. He's fast, and he turns the corner and gets out of bounds at the 18-yard line. So the Jets do not start in good field position.
Yeah, but Don, I think they'll take any field position.
Right. It's a lot better than the field position Buffalo has.
Absolutely.
They have their defense out. There's been 5 overtime games in the NFL this year, and the team that has lost the coin flip and kicked off has won 3 of the 5.
I don't know if Buffalo knows that.
And another ended in a tie. So coin toss losers are 3-1-1. On first and 10. Freeman McNeil gets the call. And McNeil takes the banging as they attack the football. He holds on and gets ahead to the 23-yard line. Art Still and Ray Bentley were on the stop for the Bills.
Shane Conlon still out of the lineup. You see 97 walking there with Art Still. Scott Radisek is taking Shane Conlon's place. One of the things that is kind of overlooked in this game is the injuries to Buffalo players today. 2nd and 6.
Roger Vick caught, but he breaks away. And Vick loses the ball, and Buffalo's going to get it. The Bills have it. Cornelius Bennett has the ball at the 32-yard line of the Jets.
Don, that's Buffalo's first turnover of the day.
First one they've gotten.
It comes as a big hit by Derek Burrows. 29. The ball is loose. Dwight Drain. Bennett makes the recovery. He's still got the football.
Bills calling for quiet. So Kelly can call the play and signals. This is no sure thing. The Bills were down here before and coughed it up. You remember the Thurman Thomas fumble. Myron blocks. Riddick runs. He's got room inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. It would be a 45-yard attempt from here. Time is no factor. We're early in the overtime. A new 15-minute period is up. Could be a tie if they should go through the overtime without a score, which was the case when the Jets played Kansas City. They had it inside.
I think Riddick is going to get the ball on every carry here. Norwood warms up on the sideline. Pat Ryan over there. You saw him after Vick fumbled, patted him on the rear end. That's all right. That's all right. Keep giving it to Riddick.
That is the call, and Riddick gets plenty more. He's down inside the 20-yard line. So the Bills fire out on the right side. 285-pound tackle Joe Devlin, number 70. The flat block. Knocked it open along with the right guard, Vogler. Red Smirlis will get a game ball. Big Freddy got a mid up. One of those bare paws and slapped back Leahy's field goal attempt that would have won at the end of regulation for the Jets.
He's going to keep getting it no matter what down it is here.
He knows what to do with it. He scored 10 touchdowns this year, Rob Riddick. He's got some more.
Both hands on the football, too.
They might not want to risk on a wet field to snap the set down in the field goal attempt. They're going to keep stuffing at the Jets. Touchdowns win these too, don't they?
Absolutely. He's now over 100 yards, 17 carries, 101 yards. Thurman Thomas was very close to 100 yards when he seemed to have turned his ankle. Then he caught the ball up. Thomas has 88. The Bills either close to or just over 200 yards rushing today.
The offensive coaches, Marcia Broda and Ted Toner, the former USC coach, in the booth next to us. They call the same play. Riddick, he stumbles ahead, and he gets it closer. Now it's almost point-blank range, and they're not going to risk another carry. Oh, and what the Bill fans have been waiting for, a championship season. It could be in just the 12th week, decided today. If this field goal is good by Norwood, the Bills win the AFC East.
We won't have to say a word either. These 80,000 fans will let everybody know.
It's a 30-yard attempt. Dale Hellestree is the snapper. John Kidd holds. On the way, that's it. Kick is good, and the Bills are champions of the AFC East. And the good times are rolling starting right now in Buffalo. position to host the event for the first time in 21 years. Home field yet to be decided, but now they're having 80,000 people who stayed till the very end, and why not? Half of them are on the field.
There go the goalpost. Very, very dangerous.
Very bad. Dangerous. Boy, this is wild. You talk about school out. And the festivities are enlivened by the theme song of this Buffalo team, Shout.
Tip of the cap to the New York Jets. They played their absolute heart out today. The turnover by Roger Vick. Turnover by Roger Vick. Vick produced the last opportunity for the Buffalo Bills. They can be very proud. They fought and fought hard today.
They brought in 100 extra security people.
Yeah, they really helped.
That's, yeah. Like putting a Band-Aid on an accident victim. You can't stop this. The gates are open, and the Bills fans are in celebration.